A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
The Jack Benny Program, presented by Lucky Strike.
Friends,
For your own real deep down enjoyment of smoking, it's important to know there's never a rough puff in a Lucky. Every puff of the way, there's mildness, smoothness, and mellowness. For today, tomorrow, always, LSMFT, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. Tobacco that's light and mellow, ripened to the peak of smoking perfection. Yes, at auction after auction, the makers of Lucky Strike consistently select and buy that fine, that light, that naturally mild tobacco.
So for your complete enjoyment of smoking, for more pleasure from every puff, every pack, light up a Lucky. You'll enjoy the rich taste of really fine tobacco. And you'll agree there's never a rough puff in a Lucky. Next time you buy cigarettes, ask for a carton of Lucky Strike. So round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the draw.
The Lucky Strike program starring Jack Benny with Mary Livingston, Phil Harris, Rochester, Dennis Day, the Sportsman Quartet, and yours truly, Don Wilson. Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of every Lucky Strike program, Jack and the cast go through a little ritual. So let's go back to last Sunday, immediately after the show, and watch what happens.
Okay, kids, okay, that's all. We're off the air. Close the curtain.
Gee, that was a great show, Jack.
Yes, Jack, I think that's one of the best programs you ever did.
Boy, you sure got a lot of laughs, Mr. Benny.
Jackson, you were sensational today.
Thanks, fellas.
Okay, kids. 1, 2. For he's
a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow, which no one can deny.
Oh, thanks. And, fellas, did you notice the way...
All right, Jack. We said you were great. We sang the song. Now give us our checks and let us go.
Okay. And, kids, I want to compliment you on the show today. Nobody made a mistake.
It's a good thing we didn't. Last week the quartet made a little mistake and you locked them in the closet and made them sing the commercial 500 times.
Well, at least...
Jack, come on, give us our checks.
Okay, here's yours, Mary.
Thanks.
Don?
Thanks.
Dennis?
Thanks.
And Phil, I'm happy that this week I don't have to pay you in cash. I can give you a check like the others.
Yeah, it took me a long time, but I finally learned how to endorse them.
Who showed you how, Phil?
What?
Who showed you how?
Remley. He's great on checks. He can sign anybody's name.
But Phil, that's forgery.
Oh, Jackson.
Huh?
Forgery is such a hard word. We call it playful penmanship.
Oh, fine. Anyway, Phil, I hope you're saving your money.
I buy annuities with my paychecks.
Well, that's very smart of you, Dennis.
I know. With those annuities, I can retire on an income of $1,000 a month.
No kidding.
Yeah, they start paying off when I'm 120.
120? Oh, that's good, Dennis. The money will come in just when you need it.
Yeah, I'll probably only have one show then.
Well, of all the... Denny, that's ridiculous. Nobody lives to be 120.
Hey, Jackson.
Huh?
Throw me that lead again. I got an answer that'll make CBS buy me.
Phil, forget it. As long as Rexall pays you in bromo seltzer, you're happy. Believe me.
Gee, I wish I could go home now.
What?
I wish I could go home.
Well, why can't you, Dennis?
My parents did it again.
Did what?
Moved away without telling me.
Oh, well, you'll find them. You always do.
Jack,
What?
I think I'll be running along, too.
Oh, Mary, I wanted to ask you, if you have nothing to do tomorrow night, would you like to come over to my house and watch some television?
Oh, I'd love to, Jack, but that's the night that all the girls I used to work with hold their annual reunion.
Oh, yes, you have that reunion every year. What does that you girls call yourselves?
The Merry Maids of the May Company.
Well, I hope you enjoy yourself.
Oh, I always do have a good time there. And I'll get to see my old girlfriend, Ruby Wagner, again. Gosh, how I envy her.
Why? What's she doing now?
She's still at the May Company.
Look, Mary, if you'd rather be back at the May Company, then you
Oh,
could...
Jack, I didn't mean that. I meant that I envy Ruby because one day a customer came over to her counter, they fell in love, got married, and now they have 12 children.
She married a customer and has 12 children?
Just think, he came in to spend 89 cents, and look what he got.
Yeah, well, Mary, everyone is gone. Come on, let's go out of the studio. They're putting out the lights now. You know, it's really an amazing story about your girlfriend, Ruby. It doesn't seem possible that... Uh-oh.
What's the matter, Jack?
I forgot something. Wait here, Mary. I'll be right back. Yeah, I wish they weren't so quick about turning off these lights. Now, let's see. Which door is it? Oh, here it is. Okay, fellas, you can come out of the closet now. Fellas, you've been punished enough for what you've done. Boys, you've sung it more than 500... Oh, my goodness, it must have affected their minds. I'm going. Holy smoke, they're following me. Fellas, stop following me. It's embarrassing. Wait a minute, fellas. Cut it out, will you? Wait a minute, boys. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, fellas. Wait a minute! Now, boys, don't follow me anymore. Go on home. Your wives haven't seen you for a week. I'd fire those guys, but I'd only have to get them another job. I'm their agent. And they're such good clients. They think because they're a quartet, they have to pay me 40%. Come on, Mary.
What'd you forget, Jack?
Oh, it was nothing. Come on. Well, there's Rochester waiting in my car. Mary, I'll drive you home.
Oh, Jack, I don't want to go home yet. I'd like to have dinner in town.
You would?
Yeah, I'm in the mood for a nice big steak.
Smothered with mushrooms and fresh fried onions?
Yeah.
How about the brown derby?
Oh, wonderful.
Okay, I'll drop you off. Now, come on, let's... Oh, gee, I forgot my umbrella and it started to rain.
It isn't raining. I spit in your eye.
Mary,
goodbye, Jack. I'll see you later.
But, Mary, you don't have... I guess she's so hungry she couldn't wait.
Ready for me to drive you home, boy?
Yes, Rochester. What are you sitting there holding that whisk broom for?
As soon as you get in the car, I'll brush you off.
Brush me off?
Yeah, the doors are stuck. You'll have to crawl from underneath.
That's ridiculous. If the doors are stuck, I'll just climb over. I got one leg over. Gee, these doors are higher than I thought. Now to get the other.
Are you in, boss?
Yeah. Gee, these seats are cold. Start the car, Rochester.
Yes, sir.
I'm sick and tired of this. You know, Rochester, I got a good mind to complain to the Cadillac Company.
The Cadillac Company?
Yes.
Boss, we only got one of the hubcaps from them.
Oh, yes.
And we picked that up at the scene of an accident.
Rochester, I didn't steal that hubcap.
No, but I'll never forget how you jiggered with that man in the ambulance.
All right. Now try that motor again.
Yes, sir.
This is all... Rochester, where did we get this motor?
Broadway at 9th.
Eastern Columbia?
No, Broadway at 9th. It was laying in the street.
What?
Same accident.
Oh, yes. Rochester, try and get this car started, will you? Thank heaven. Now, Rochester, for a change, go out Hollywood Boulevard.
Yes, sir.
You know, this is one of the first nights this week that the weather has been so mild. What was that?
Sounded like a police whistle.
Rochester, did you see that? 2 men just ran out of that bank. They jumped in that big black sedan. They're speeding away.
Yeah.
Wow. They must be going 80 miles an hour. And look at that policeman. He's running towards us. What is it, officer?
Quick, follow that car.
What?
Follow that car.
Oh, officer, calm down.
Look, I'm an officer of the law. When I jump on your running board and say follow that car, I want you to do it.
Well, then get your other foot off the ground. You're holding us back.
Stop wasting time and do as I...
Cut.
Cop? Who said that?
I did. We're making a picture here on Hollywood Boulevard.
A picture? Oh, for heaven's sake. What's the name of it?
The whistle blows at midnight.
Rochester, let's get out of here. I don't want to be even an extra in this one. Step on it. I want to get home and have dinner. Well, that was a very good dinner, Rochester.
Thanks, boss. Say, Mr. Benny, while you were having dinner, a messenger brought this to the door.
What is it?
Here you are.
Oh, yes. This is a record that Dennis made of that new song, Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo, from Walt Disney's picture, Cinderella. He wanted me to hear it. I'm going in the den, Rochester, and play it.
Shall I break a toothpick in half?
No, I bought some needles. I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts. See, that song I don't understand at all. At least Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo makes sense. I bet Dennis made a good record of it. How I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts. Whoops! Wrong side. Oh, here it is. Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. If your mind is in a dither and your heart is in a haze, I'll haze your dither and dither your haze with a magic phrase. If you're chased around by trouble and you're followed by a jinx, I'll jinx your trouble and trouble your jinx in less than 40 winks. Salagadoola, minchikaboola, bibbidi bobbidi boo. Put 'em together and what have you got? Bibbidi bobbidi boo. Salagadoola, minchikaboola, bibbidi bobbidi boo. It'll do magic, believe it or not, bibbidi bobbidi boo. Salagadoola means minchikaboola-roo, but the thingamabob that does the job is bibbidi bobbidi boo. Salagadoola, minchikaboola, bibbidi bobbidi boo. Put 'em together and what have you got? Bibbidi bobbidi boo. Now salagadoola means minchikaboola-roo, but the thingamabob that does the job is bibbidi bobbidi boo. Salagadoola, minchikaboola, bibbidi bobbidi boo. Put 'em together and what have you got? Oh, bibbidi bobbidi, bibbidi bobbidi, bibbidi bobbidi boo. Hey, Dennis did that very well. Did you hear it, Rochester?
Yes, sir. Are you going to bed now, boss?
No, I think I'll stay up a while and read a book.
Okay.
Now, let's see. I finished Cleveland Amory's new book, Hometown. Very good, too. Here's one. My 10 Years in Washington by Dreer Poussin. Well, I'll be darned, there is a Dreer Poussin. Yeah, I hope Don doesn't find out. Say, here's a good mystery. I Was Betrayed by Maximilian Q. Langley, author of I Was Framed, I Was Deceived, I Was Double-Crossed, and I Was Loused Up. Gee, certainly gets some great titles. I think I'll read this one. I'll sit in that chair by the window. Whoop. This seat is cold, too. Yeah, this story ought to be pretty good. I was betrayed.
As the pale rays of the dying moon filtered through the bars of my prison cell, was told that my last appeal had been denied. And I, Meredith Sneisenholder, was betrayed. It's hard to believe that I was once a very successful doctor. I could boast of a fine practice, a brilliant assistant, a beautiful wife who adored me, and 2 lovely children, Hogan and Sneak. I was proud to be their par. But I'm getting ahead of my story. It all started in my operating room. I was preparing a patient for an operation, and my assistant, Dr. Dennis Daseldorf, was helping me. As I was about to start the operation, the patient looked at me and nervously asked,
Dr. Sneisenholder, are you sure this operation won't hurt?
Hurt? Well, no. No, not at all.
Well, I'm so sensitive.
Oh, you. It might a little. Dr. Daseldorf.
Jawohl, Dr. Schneisenholder.
Doctor, hand me the scalpel.
The scalpel? What's that?
The scalpel. It's a knife with a long curved blade.
Oh, that's in the kitchen there. I made myself a sandwich and used it to slice the salami.
So wash it off and bring it in.
Yes, sir, Doctor. Here you are, Dr. Schneisenholder.
What's that?
You told me to wash it off and bring it in.
The scalpel, not the salami. Keep it, Doctor. Hand me my rubber gloves.
My goodness, Dr. Schneisenholder, you're awfully nervous today.
Well, why shouldn't I be? I'm about to perform a very delicate operation that's never been attempted before. All medical science is awaiting the result. And this patient has volunteered.
Oh, Doctor, what are you going to do?
I'm going to separate his bibbity from his bobbity. What do you think of that?
Ooh.
Wonderful. We'll call this operation Bibbity Bobbity Boo.
Let's turn him over and see what's on the other side.
Good.
The patient died. But the operation made the hit parade. After this incident, I decided I needed more help in the office. So I put an ad in the paper for a nurse. The next day, there were 5 applicants for the job. I turned down the first 4, but the 5th had trim ankles and lovely slim legs. I stared at her for 5 minutes. Then when I looked up, I saw that she was pretty, too. Her name was Ginger Lamar, and her voice was soft and sultry.
Well, Doc, we'll talk as soon as you get through looking.
Oh, pardon me. I was just thinking about something. Tell me, Miss Lamar. Do you have any experience?
Come here, Doc. Closer. Now put your arms around me and kiss me. Do I get the job, Doc?
Well, I wanted a nurse, but you'll do. When can you come to work?
I've already started.
From the moment I met Ginger, my life had more snap to it. Even though I was a great surgeon, I couldn't cut that one out of the script. There were so many things about Ginger that I learned to appreciate. The way her dimples showed when she smiled, her cute walk, her gay laughter, and the way she clenched her little fist when she slugged the rats in my sterilizer. As the hours passed, I found myself falling deeper and deeper in love with Ginger, until at the end of the first day I was hopelessly gone. That night, I took her home.
Well, baby, this is where I live. We can stand here in the hall and talk.
Ginger, darling, at last we're alone. At last I can tell
Who's
you.
that down there?
It's me, Ma, Ginger.
Did you bring the sterno?
Yeah, I got it in my purse.
Well, get it up here quick. I want to put the meat on. The old man's hungry.
In a couple of minutes, Ma.
Darling, I want to tell you how
You
much...
like your old lady? Get up here with that style.
Lower your voice, you lazy bum. Ginger's boyfriend will think we're a couple of crumbs.
Stop yelling at me. You're blowing the foam off of my beer.
That was Mother and Dad.
They sound like real folks. Oh, Ginger, if we could only get married, I could do so much for your parents. Take out their appendix or their tonsils or something.
That's the trouble, Snizer. You're already married.
Yeah.
And what about your two lovely children, Kramer and Gonzalez?
That's Hogan and Sneed. Ginger, what do you want me to do?
Well, if you want me, Snizer, you're going to have to ask your wife for a divorce.
A divorce?
How could I ask Cindy Lou for a divorce? Cindy Lou, the girl who was responsible for my success. The girl who made me go to college and study anatomy, biology, surgery, and canasta. I won $46 from her on our honeymoon. But it was no use. I was in love with Ginger, and Cindy would have to understand. That night, as we sat at the dinner table eating, I said,
Cindy Lou, I know this will be a blow to you. But rather than make you unhappy, I'd cut off my arm.
when she handed me a knife, I knew she was going to be difficult.
Cindy, I'm trying to tell you I'm in love with another woman. I'm asking you for a divorce.
Well, darling, if you want a divorce, you can have one. I don't want to stand in the way of your happiness.
Now, don't go to pieces, Cindy. Try to understand.
But I do understand, darling, and I'll explain it to our two children, DiMaggio and Greenberg.
That's Hogan and Sneed. Now, Cindy, are you going to give me a divorce or not?
I told you yes.
Please, Cindy, let's not argue. Be reasonable.
I felt like a heel for what I had done to my wife. But I hurried back to see Ginger. She was at the office waiting for me. Instead of a nurse's uniform, she was wearing a French bathing suit. It wasn't conventional, but I did more business than South Pacific. I took one fellow's appendix out 8 times. I knew he'd be back, so I put a swinging door on his right side. However, I couldn't stand the strain. I wanted desperately to be alone with Ginger so we could talk. I tried to get rid of my assistant, Dr. Dazeldorf.
Oh, Dr. Dazeldorf.
Yeah? Did you want me?
Darn it, I missed him.
It's all right, Snizy. I told him all about us.
Oh. Then, Dr. Dazeldorf, you know that I'm going to leave my wife.
Oh, yeah. But what about your two lovely children, Taft and Hartley?
That's Hogan and Sneed. Ginger, I can hardly wait for the day when I can call you mine. And we'll be together always.
Have you told your wife?
I tried to, but she took it so hard I couldn't go through with it. I'll try again tonight.
I dreaded going home and breaking the news to Cindy. But it had to be done, and now. I hurried out to the street, ran to the curb, jumped down into my new Hudson and drove home. When I got home, I jumped up out of my new Hudson and went into the house. Cindy was sitting in the living room. I could tell she was lonely because she had blown up my rubber glove and was shaking hands with her. I walked in and said,
Cindy, I'm back.
Huh? Oh, there you are.
Yes, and stop pointing my finger at me. Cindy, this can't go on any longer. I'm in love with another woman, and I want my freedom.
For goodness sake, I told you last night you could have it.
I can?
Yes, and you can have the two children, Citation and Coal Town.
That's Hogan and Sneed. Why can't you remember?
It was a relief to know that Cindy would give me a divorce. I wanted to tell Ginger the good news. I rushed out to the street, ran to the curb, jumped down into my new Hudson and almost broke my neck. Someone had stolen it. As I ran all the way back to the office, avoiding Hollywood Boulevard, where they were making a picture. As I reached the door, I heard voices. I stopped and listened.
Oh, sweetheart, kiss me again, and again, and again.
3 more kisses? Ach, du lieber, put me down already.
I couldn't believe my ears. The girl for whom I gave up Cindy, Hogan, and Sneed was a cheat. Dr. Dazeldorf, my trusted assistant, had double-crossed me. I opened the door and walked in.
Aha! Look, the doctor's back and he's got a gun.
Ozzy, don't shoot! Don't shoot!
Yes, I killed them both. If only my sons could have been here to see me. I had made a hole in one. As I looked at Ginger lying there with a big bullet hole between her eyes, I wondered how I had ever thought her attractive. And then I realized I could never love anyone but Cindy Lou. I rushed home to throw myself at her feet and beg her forgiveness. When I reached my house, Cindy Lou was surprised to see me.
Hello, Cindy. I've come home. Home to stay.
Oh, it's you, Meredith. I didn't expect you so soon.
Cindy, why are you acting so nervous? So strange.
Me strange? Oh, I'm not nervous.
Cindy, you're hiding something from me. Is there another man?
No, nobody.
Then why are you standing in front of that closet door? I'm going to...
No, Meredith, please.
Get away, I said. I'm going to open that door.
I opened the door, and my suspicion was confirmed. I broke out in a cold sweat. A blinding rage swept over me. I saw red.
And you just don't look right.
Oh, for heaven's sake, Skelton, get out of here. Your show's not on till 8:30.
Yeah, 9 o'clock on the Pacific Coast.
What?
And not only that, I'm making a picture on Hollywood Boulevard with Hogan and Sneed.
Get out of here. Get out. I'll take this gun. I'll take this gun. I'll take it.
Bob, wake up.
Huh? Rochester.
You fell asleep while you were reading that book.
Oh. Gee, I had the craziest dream. What were you doing?
I had the radio on listening to Red Skelton.
Oh, well, that explains it. Good night, Rochester. I'm going to bed.
Back will be back in just a moment, but first...
Lucky's are smoother. Lucky's are milder. Try them, and you'll see there's never a rough puff in a Lucky. Just the real deep-down smoking enjoyment, the mellow smoothness that only Lucky's fine tobacco can give you. Yes, it takes fine tobacco to make a fine cigarette. And LS-MFT, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. Tobacco that's ripe and light, that smokes smooth and mild. For at market after market, the makers of Lucky Strike consistently select and buy this kind of tobacco for your cigarette.
Just listen for a moment to what an expert says about the tobacco he's seen Lucky Strike buy. Mr. Ed Rogers, an independent tobacco auctioneer from Reidsville, North Carolina, recently said,
Wherever I've auctioned, I've seen Lucky Strike buy ripe, smooth tobacco that shows the sunshine, the kind that's hard to beat for smoking quality. I've smoked Lucky's for 12 years.
So take a tip from an expert, and for your own real deep-down smoking enjoyment, light up a Lucky. Every puff of the way, you'll see there's never a rough puff in a Lucky. Next time, ask for a carton of Lucky Strike.
Thanks, Red. Good night, everybody.
Be sure to hear Dennis Day in A Day in the Life of Dr. Dazeldorf. Stay tuned for Amos Manny, which follows immediately. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Good health to all from Rexall. It's the Phil Harris Alice Faye Show, presented by the makers of Rexall drug products and 10,000 independent Rexall family druggists.
Good evening. This is your Rexall family druggist, here to welcome you for all 10,000 of us. The 10,000 independent druggists who have chosen to make the word Rexall part of our own store names. We've done that because we believe in the 2,000 or more drug products made by the Rexall Drug Company. And we've put the orange and blue Rexall sign on our windows to let you know we recommend and sell them. Bismarex is a good example of the quality of these products. This famous Rexall antacid often brings relief from acid indigestion within 5 minutes, neutralizing excess acidity, leaving a soothing, protective covering on irritated stomach membranes. Quality like that of Bismarex is what we family druggists are talking about when we tell you you can depend on any drug product that bears the name Rexall.
Good health to all from Rexall. And now your Rexall family druggist brings you the Phil Harris Alice Faye Show. Written by Ray Singer and Dick Chevrolet with Elliot Lewis, Walter Tetley, Robert North, Janine Roos, Ann Whitfield, Walter Sharp and his music, yours truly, Bill Foreman, and starring Alice Faye and Phil Harris. Today is a big day in the Harris household. It's the master's birthday. Phil has just come downstairs, and Alice and the children and William are congratulating him.
Happy birthday, Daddy.
Many happy returns.
Happy birthday, Philip.
Happy. Happy. What's happy about being a year older? Do you realize that today the mantle of youth has slipped from my shoulders and is being replaced by the yoke of senility?
What are you talking about?
Today I'm 30.
Come again, Wonga? How old are you?
30.
But, Daddy, how can you be 30? Last year, Mommy said that you were...
Phyllis, don't question your father. If he says he's 30, he's 30. You mustn't get him excited.
Why not?
Because it's not good for a man of 41. Now, look, Phil, there's no shame in getting older. I'm getting older, and I admit it. Why don't you?
All right, I'll admit it. You're getting older.
Daddy, Alice and me saved up and bought you a present. Here it is.
Ah, a present for me, kids? Gee. Oh, that's awfully sweet of you, buying me this. Wait a minute. I don't think this is funny, Alice, and it's not nice to let the children ridicule their father by buying him something like this.
What are you talking about? This is something you always wanted. It's a powder horn to hang up in your den with your antique guns.
No. I thought it was an air trumpet. I'm sorry, kids. Thank you very much.
Well, here's my present, honey. Happy birthday.
Gee, another powder horn.
No, this is an ear trumpet.
Stop kidding. Next year I'll need it, though. You know something? I've always wanted a pair of these powder horns. They're going to look swell in my den.
I have a present for you, too, Philip, and here it is.
Wow, what a big box,
Now, you'd better let me open it. The present is breakable.
Well, all right, but hurry up, Willie. Come on with it.
Tightly. Have to exert a little more strength.
Ah, look at that boy's muscles ripple as he tries to tear that wrapping paper. Here, let me at that thing, will you?
Well, wait till you see what I got, Philip. It's a modernistic piece of statuary.
A statue for Phil? Oh, no.
Ah, there. Well, I got it open. Now to get it to present. I'll get this junk out of here first. Tissue paper. Excelsior. This big white blob. More Excelsior. Tissue paper. And the box is empty. Willie, where's my present?
The big white blob is your present. You like it, don't you?
What?
You like it?
Heavens, yeah. Gee. A man's a fool to be without one of these. I'll wear it always.
You don't wear it.
Oh.
Alice, how do you like it?
Oh, Willie, this is really something. isn't it?
Philip, this is a modernistic statue, and it's all for you. Why, look at the way it's made.
Somebody made this? I thought it was a fungus growth that attached itself to the box.
I'll explain the statue to you. It's symbolic, and it represents the human struggle. This white lump is a woman kneeling with her hands outstretched. The three globe-like objects in front of it represent the phases of a person's existence: infancy, adolescence, and maturity. And they're all groping for the staff of life.
Is that what that is? Looks like three bald-headed hobos fighting over a cigar butt. I can see the scars on that one fella's knuckles. Say, Willie, didn't you say this was breakable?
Oh, yes.
Well, don't stand there. Break it.
I don't understand you. You never like the gifts I give you.
Fine gifts. Last year you gave me a mahjong set, and for Christmas you gave me a squash racket.
Well, I thought you'd enjoy the squash racket, but you never even used it.
I did, too. I tried eating squash with it. Stuff kept leaking through the hole.
Well, Philip, I know that if you study this statue, you'll get accustomed to it, and you'll just learn to love it.
It's no use, Willie. Every time I look at it, I get sick at my stomach.
I felt the same way when I first saw you, but I gave you a chance. Now, look, Philip, I have a friend who's an art dealer. I'll have him come over and point out the fine artistry of this work. Now, I'll go in and call him right now.
Don't bother about it, Willie. Don't mind calling him. Oh, nuts. Alice, where does your brother find these things?
Oh, Willie means well. I hope you're not angry with him for getting you this.
No. Just to show him that there's no hard feelings, this year I'll buy my brownie cookies from him.
Phil, you shouldn't laugh at Willie just because he thinks differently than you do. Don't forget, other people have been laughed at.
Like who and what key are you singing it in?
They all laughed at Christopher Columbus when he said the world was round. They all laughed when Edison recorded sound. They all laughed at Wilbur and his brother when they said that man could fly. They told Marconi wireless was a phony. It's the same old cry. They laughed at me, wanting you. Said I was reaching for the moon. But ooh, you came through. Now they'll have to change their tune.
They'll change their tune.
They all said we never could be happy. They laughed at us and how.
But ho, ho, ho.
Who's got the last laugh now? They all laughed at Rockefeller Center. Now they're fighting to get in. They all laughed at Whitney and his cotton gin. They all laughed at Fulton and his steamboat, Hershey and his chocolate bar. Ford and his Lizzie kept the laughers busy. That's how people are. They laughed at me, wanting you. Said it would be hello, goodbye. But ooh, you came through. Now they're eating humble pie. They all said we'd never get together. Darling, let's take a bow.
Ho, ho, ho.
Who's got the last laugh? I've got the last laugh. We've got the last laugh now.
Alice, how can I get rid of Willie's present without hurting his feelings?
Oh, Phil, you're not being very gracious. At least Willie remembered your birthday. That's more than Frankie did. He didn't call or send a card or anything.
Well, he's not the I'll get that. Come to think of it, Alice is right. You'd think my best friend would remember that at least it was...
Hiya, Curly. Happy birthday.
Frankie. You remembered. Oh. How'd you know it was my birthday?
I got your telegram this morning reminding me. I got a present for you, too.
Ah, Frankie, now
don't tell me I didn't have to buy anything, because you told me that last year, and when I didn't, you laid me off for 2 weeks.
There's only 1 week, and what have you got me?
Well, I didn't want to spend a lot on something you couldn't use, so I'm giving you the money instead. Here.
Gee, Frankie. A $3 bill. I've never seen one of these.
They're very rare. A friend of mine makes them to order.
That's a novelty. Custom-made money.
Did you get any other unusual birthday presents, Curly?
Yes. I got one from Willie. Yes, indeed. Yeah, Willie brought me one. Come on in. I'll show it to you.
All right.
Hey, will you see what that dove laid on me?
Oh, Philip, my friend will be over soon. Oh, hello, Francis.
Hi, Willie. Curly was just going to show me the present you bought him.
Oh, wait till you see it. Philip doesn't seem to appreciate it, but I know you'll be thrilled. Well, there it is.
There what is?
Right there in the center of the table.
Oh, what a shame. How did he get hurt?
Francis, it's a modernistic statue, isn't it? Beautiful. Look at those graceful lines.
Oh, it's symmetry. Where'd you dig this up, son?
What did you say?
He wants to know what cemetery you dug it up.
Francis, I'm surprised at you. Don't you understand the symbolism of this impressionistic piece? Doesn't the female form and the 3 globular objects represent something to you?
Oh, of course. Now I see it. Yeah, it's a dame leaning over a pool table making a 3-cushion billiard shot.
Never mind. We'll just have to wait until my art dealer friend gets here and explains it to you.
Hey, Curly, you ain't going to keep this thing in the house, are you?
Of course not. I'm going to carry it outside and bury it. Come on.
Yeah.
And the quicker I get this off of my hand, the quicker that I'll...
Just a minute, Phil. Where are you going with that statue?
I'm getting rid of this monstrosity.
Oh, no, you don't. It's a gift and you're going to keep it. Besides, it's not a monstrosity. The more I look at it, the more I like it. In fact, I understand it now.
This kid's been sipping hot muscatel.
She don't look like a wino.
Well, if you look close, right...
I am not. Now, Phil, you give me that statue. Thanks. Now, I'll hold it over here in the corner, and you look at it from a distance. Notice the pure whiteness of it, the rounded lines, and the way it...
I'm getting the groceries and... Miss Faye, why are you standing in the corner holding that bag of dirty laundry?
Julius, this is not dirty laundry. It's Mr. Harris's statue. What do you think of it?
It's a very good likeness of him.
Julius, you study art in school. Can you tell me what this represents?
Let me see. It looks like a human form on its knees, but the 3 globes above it don't... Oh, of course. Now I know what it is.
What?
Mr. Emily in a pawn shop begging for more money.
It's not Frankie. Look, kid, although this statue is very dear to me, I believe in sharing my joy with my fellow man. In short, I'm giving you this statue to show how I feel about you.
Thank you very much. I hate you, too. What am I going to do with a sloppy mess?
That's your problem. Get it out of here.
Right this way, Harry. The statue's in here. Folks, I want you all to meet Mr. Daniels, the art dealer.
How do you do?
Hello, Mr. Daniels.
Hi, Dan.
There's the statue. Right there on the table. What do you think of it?
Well, let me see. This technique looks familiar. By George, this was done by the modern Greek master Cleidonophanes.
Not the Croconorlicus.
Cleidonophanes.
Hey, did you hear that, Ram? This thing's a genuine Clyde.
This is quite a valuable piece of art.
I'm willing to pay $1,500 for it. Who owns it?
I bought it.
It's my present.
But I'm holding it.
Just a minute, mister. I'm not going to let these two guys cheat Curly out of $1,500.
Mr. Renly, who does this statue belong to?
Me.
I can settle this. I have the bill of sale, and that proves I'm the legal owner. But I'm not selling it to you, Harry. I can get more for it at a public auction.
Oh, very well. But do me a favor. I'm having an auction at my place tonight. Put it up there so I can bid on it.
Fair enough.
Well, I'll see you tonight, then. Goodbye, everybody.
I'm getting out of here, too. You're nothing but a bunch of Indian statue givers.
I'll leave with you, Julius. There's one thing I can't stand. It's a crude exhibition of money grabbing that I can't get in on.
William, I'm surprised at you. Giving a gift to Phil and then taking it back because it's worth a lot of money. Shame on you.
And fie on you, too. I hope your next upside-down cake comes out right side up.
Alice, I guess you're right. I was overcome by greed, and that's not like me. Philip, you may have the statue, and whatever you get for it at the auction, you may keep.
Ah, gee, Willie. More like you. That's swell of you, kid. You're really a nice little guy, and I want you to
Philip,
know...
stop patting me on the head. You're hitting my soft spot.
Willie, you just did me a big favor, so I'm going to do you an even bigger favor.
You're going to give me the statue?
No, I'm going to sing to you.
This is a favor?
Up in the morning, out on the job, work like the devil for my pay. But that lucky old nothing to do but rule around heaven all day. Show me that river, take me across, wash all my troubles away. Like that lucky old sun, give me nothing to do but rule around heaven all day.
Can't you know he's crying? Tears all in his eyes. Send down that cloud with a silver lining. Lift him to paradise.
I'm up every morning, back on my job, work like the devil for my pay, while that lucky old sun got nothing to do but rule around heaven all day. Fuss with my woman, toil for my kids, sweat till I'm wrinkled and gray. But that lucky old sun, he ain't got nothing to do but rule around heaven all day. Good Lord above, can't you know I'm pining? Tears all in my eyes. Send down that cloud with a silver lining. Lift me to paradise. To that river, take me across. Wash all my troubles away. Like that lucky old sun, give me nothing to do but roll around heaven all day.
him down to this auction?
Because we can do Mr. Harris a favor. Willie took advantage of him, and, well, you know how Mr. Harris is. He's a babe in the woods.
I know he is, but what's that got to do with it?
Well, being a babe in the woods...
Oh, babe in the woods. I thought you said aged in the woods. How can we help the old boll weevil?
Well, Willie owns the statue. And when he has it auctioned off, it's up to us to see he doesn't get much for it.
We louse up the bid, huh?
That's right. All we have to do is...
Hey, Remley. Ah, good. You got Julius with you, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, I want you two guys to do me a favor. See, I'm auctioning off this statue.
You don't have to tell us what to do, Curly.
Huh?
That's why we're here. To help you.
We got it all figured out, Mr. Harris. You just start the auction and leave the rest to us.
Oh, swell. Okay, thanks, fellas. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to offer for auction this beautiful piece of statuary.
Is that the statue you were telling me about, Harry? That's the one. It's worth $2,000 easy.
2,000? You guys is a couple of pikers. That statue's worth 10,000 of anybody's money.
Glad to hear you feel that way about it, son. Now, gentlemen, let's start the bidding. What am I offered?
$1.35.
$1.35?
Sold to Mr. Harris for $1.35.
Wait a minute, Grandma. Come here. What are you trying to do?
We're helping you.
Well, if you want to help, start with 1,000 and stick to it.
But Curly...
Don't argue. Just do as I tell you now. All right, now, gentlemen. I'm ready to hear your offers. What am I bid for this beautiful statue?
$2,000.
$3,000. $1,000.
Nice going, Frankie. You're going in the wrong direction, but nice going. No wonder you didn't bid 500.
500!
No question.
$1.35.
How did we get back to that? It seems to me I heard somebody offer 3,000.
I did. 3,000. 4,000.
1,000.
5,000. 6,000.
Hey, son, come over here and bring your friend, the one with the baggy pants face.
Well, Curly, we doing a good job of ruining Willie's sale?
Willie's sale? Frankie, Willie gave the statue back to me. It's my sale. Don't you understand? Now, I'll tell you what. If you and Julius bid it up high enough, I'll split it with you.
Oh, okay.
All right. Now, gentlemen, what was the last bid?
I paid 6,000. 7,000.
$3 million. $7,000 to $3 million? I could have sworn there was some numbers in between.
Harris, 8,000 is my last offer. Take it or leave it.
Do I hear more? 8,000 once, 8,000 twice, sold for 8,000. No, $8,000 smashed to pieces. Now I won't get a nickel for it. Julius, this is all your fault. This wouldn't have happened if you didn't start off with that ridiculous 35-cent bid.
That ain't what I bid.
What did you bid?
$1.35.
Sold to the boy with a slow leak in his head.
Alice and Phil will be back in just a moment. But first, here's your Rexall family druggist.
Whenever a customer asks me if Rexall aspirin is the fastest dissolving aspirin you can buy, I tell them no. It's the fastest disintegrating.
Oh, why? What's the difference?
A great deal, ma'am. You see, aspirin itself, any aspirin, is almost insoluble in water. And it's also too fine to hold together in tablet form. So a way had to be found to bind it with an ingredient that would quickly disintegrate. That is, break up the tablet. So the aspirin itself would immediately be free to do its job.
I see. The quicker the breakup, the quicker the let-up.
Exactly, ma'am. And that's why Rexall scientists developed a binder so low in moisture content that it expands and pulls apart the very second it comes in contact with water, completely freeing the 5 full grains of aspirin in every Rexall aspirin tablet and allowing them to go to work for you even while you're swallowing the tablet.
Oh, I'd say that's about as fast as you can get it.
And you'd be absolutely correct. By laboratory test, Rexall aspirin disintegrates faster than any other leading brand tested. And that's the kind of quality we family druggists are talking about when we tell you you can depend on any drug product that bears the name Rexall.
Good health to all from Rexall.
There's a friend of yours here to see you.
Hello, Phil. Well, if it ain't Bob McLaughlin, one of Hollywood's leading disc jockeys. Hey, Bob. Hey, what's on your mind, Robert?
Well, I have some great news for you, Phil. As a result of reports from my Rexall record shows all over America and my fellow disc jockeys, your victory recording of The Old Master Painter, with music arranged by Walter Scharf, places you on top of the list as America's newest male vocal sensation.
Julius, keep out of there.
And Phil, this scroll is our way of saying thank you, and we hope that you'll bring us another victor and a song real soon.
Ah, thank you, Bob McLaughlin. And incidentally, ladies and gentlemen, Bob McLaughlin has done over 350 15-minute programs all over the country for Rexall. And, Bob, to you and all the disc jockeys all over America for this vote of confidence, I want to thank you. And also to our listeners for accepting this song from Filthy. Yeah, that's me.
Oh, for crying out loud.
This program is produced and directed by Paul Phillips. Included in today's cast was John Stevenson. The part of Frankie Remley was played by Elliot Lewis, and Julius was played by Walter Tetley. Why cough your head off these winter days when there's such soothing relief with Cherisote, Rexall's popular cough remedy? Ruby red and pleasant tasting, Cherisote does double duty, soothing the raw and irritated membranes of your throat and bronchial tubes and helping to loosen your cough. See your doctor about any cough that hangs on. Ask for Cherisote wherever you see the orange and blue Rexall sign on the window. And remember, you can depend on any drug product that bears the name Rexall.
Stay tuned for Sam Spade, then Theater Guild with Jane Wyman on NBC.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Joseph Schlitz Brewing Company of Milwaukee, Wisconsin presents The Halls of Ivy, starring Mr. and Mrs. Ronald Coleman.
I was curious. I tasted it. Now I know why Schlitz is the beer that made Milwaukee famous.
If you like good beer, you'll find it pays to be curious and learn about Schlitz for yourself. And now, the Halls of Ivy.
We love the halls of ivy that surround us here today, and we
welcome again to Ivy, the College of Ivy and the town of Ivy, USA. Dr. William Todhunter Hall, president of Ivy College, has all the troubles common to college presidents. They consist mostly of fiscal matters, financial affairs, and money. As he's often been heard to say, a man in his position must be 1 part babysitter, 1 part mediator, and 98 parts panhandler. But Dr. Hall has at least one advantage over his scholastic opposite number. He has a wife named Victoria, formerly a glittering ornament of the English Musical Comedy Theater, and now the epitome of what a tired man should come home to.
Ah, what a lovely room this is. Not an old grad in sight. Vicky, are you here?
Yes, dear. Oh, you look tired, Toddy. Had a rough day?
Oh, not too awfully bad. I have pledges of $151,000 toward the new gymnasium.
Well, that's wonderful. $150,000 seems like a great deal of money.
Yes, it does. Until you remember that these are pledges, not cash.
I suppose there is a difference.
There is indeed. The same difference that exists between the sudden slight illness of a wealthy uncle and the reading of the will. Is Penny ready with the tea?
Right here, sir, and some of your favorite biscuits, too.
Thank you, Penny.
Penny?
Yes, Mum?
How many times must I tell you cookies, not biscuits? We are now in the United States of America, and we speak Mr. Truman's English, not the King's.
Yes, Mum. I'll keep trying, Mum. Lifts is elevators, trams is streetcars, lorries is trucks, and a duke is a prize fighter's fist. Cookies, she says.
Oh, stop grizzling, Penny. Here you are, William.
Thank you. I'm glad you brought Penny over here with you, Victoria. The way she makes tea should cement British-American relations for years to come.
Yes.
Yes, and the way she makes coffee would dissolve the cement overnight. Has anything happened today?
Well, let me think. There was a young man named Gray who wanted to see you. He came 3-4 times. He seemed rather emotionally upset.
Emotional upsets are not infrequent among college-age young men, Vicky. They are psychic growing pains.
Ah, that's probably Mr. Gray. You'd better take care of his growing pains and call me when he's cured. I'll be in the kitchen. Tonight I'm making the coffee myself.
A gentleman to see you, Dr. Hall, Mr. Melliot.
Mr. Melliot? Melliot? Well, he couldn't be the... Ask him in, Penny.
Right in here, sir.
Hello?
How do you do? Penny, please take the things away, will you? Unless I can offer you a cup, sir.
No, thank you. Dr. Hall, I'm Mike Melliot.
Yes, I've seen your picture in the paper. What did you wish to see me about?
Well, Dr. Grapevine says you're out after some dough for a new gym. Is that right?
The grapes on your vine are a little overripe, Mr. Melliot. It's rather common knowledge. What about it?
I want to give you some.
May I ask you a question, Mr. Melliot?
Sure. But I warn you, Doc, I've been questioned by experts under brighter lights than you got in here. Go ahead.
What business are you in?
Well, that's a fair question. I got a string of dry cleaning joints. That's on top. On the bottom, I make book.
Bookmaking is not a legal operation, Mr. Melliot.
Legal or illegal, Doc, depends on locations. Horse booking is against the law in this country. In England, it's legal.
Well, then I suggest you make your donation to Oxford. That's in England.
I ain't got a kid in Oxford.
You have a kid attending Ivy College?
Yeah, a son.
I didn't know that.
Well, not many people do, Doc, and I want to keep it off the record. He's a good boy. I want to see him get the breaks that I didn't get when I was a kid. In a cold water flat, laying on a cheap mattress with a piece of billiard cue, waiting for the next rat to come out of the plaster.
Mr. Melliot, I fully sympathize with your intention of giving your son the advantages you lacked.
I'm not asking for sympathy, Doc. I'm asking for a square deal for the kid, that's all.
Ivy College does not sell square deals, Mr. Melliot. We have here the sons and daughters of rich men, poor men, beggar men, thieves, doctors, lawyers, and merchants of almost everything. I doubt if anyone here expects more of a square deal than he is entitled to through hard work, decency, and a certain civilizing contact with his fellows.
How do they get this contact?
I should think that would be obvious. In classes, fraternities, sports.
Yeah, but Eddie ain't getting it.
Why isn't he?
I don't know. He's got a nice personality, but no nice friends, only stooges.
I want to get him into a fraternity, and don't tell me that ain't for sale.
I do tell you that.
Now, wait a minute. If this school gets, say, $250,000 toward a new gymnasium, you mean nobody can pull hard enough to get a boy into a fraternity?
Mr. Melliot, I'm afraid your somewhat violent training has distorted your social viewpoint.
Huh? Break that down.
I shall. You, Mr. Melliot, have had too much experience with special privilege. You've spent too many years purchasing crooked policemen, aldermen, judges. You've made yourself a power in the land through money, through fear. You are a totalitarian. If your son wishes to... Does he, by the way, know that you are here in his behalf?
If he knew it, he'd slug me.
Good.
What?
Well, I say good because now I'm interested in Eddie. Eddie who, by the way? I gather he is not using your name.
Oh, Gray. Eddie Gray.
Well, I'll talk to your son, Mr. Melliot, but I'm afraid I must refuse your donation to our gymnasium fund.
You mean my money ain't good enough, huh?
Oh, money has no status of its own. It's merely a medium of exchange. The only question that arises is, what would we be expected to exchange for it? In this case, special privileges to one Eddie Gray. However, I am impressed by any boy who has the integrity to poke his father in the nose for attempting to buy him into the good graces of his fellows.
You don't accept the donation, huh?
Not yours, Mr. Melliot. Well, that's my personal reaction. I may be overruled.
Uh-huh. Well, okay. Wellman thought you might take that attitude.
Wellman?
Yeah.
You mean Mr. Clarence Wellman of our governing board?
Mm-hmm. He really wants this gymnasium, you know. Well, thanks for the conversation. You don't have to go to the door with me. I won't steal anything on the way out.
The only thing I have which you might want can neither be stolen nor sold, Mr. Melliot. Good day.
Yeah, I'll be seeing you.
$250,000. Hall, I'm afraid your vaunted integrity will someday get you a fine position running a filling station.
Would I be too inquisitive, Toddy, if I asked what Mr. Melliot wanted?
Oh, so you recognized him, eh, Vicky?
I recognize his voice. I've heard him in the courtroom, in newsreels. I never forget a voice. He's, arrogant, isn't he?
He has the arrogance of purchasing power. A man who has lifted himself by his own bootleg, if I may perpetrate a mild pun. Vicky.
Yes, dear.
See if you can get a student named Eddie Gray to come over and see me, will you?
Certainly. Eddie Gray? Well, that's the boy who's been trying to see you all day.
Yes, he's Mike Melliot's son.
No.
I'm anxious to talk to him. His father is a sterling character, devaluated. I want to see how far the devaluation has gone.
I was curious. I tasted it. Now I know why Schlitz is the beer that made Milwaukee famous.
There's a story behind those words, a pleasant story that may suggest something equally pleasant to you. So before we return to the halls of Ivy, starring Mr. and Mrs. Ronald Coleman, here's a curious artist to tell us about the masterpiece he discovered aboard a steamer.
I'm a portrait painter, and other people's faces are my fortune. So it isn't surprising that studying faces has become almost second nature with me. Just last month, for instance, during my trip to Bermuda, I was in the lounge pretending to read a magazine, but actually watching a man drink beer. As the beer passed his lips, you could see his expression change from pleasant anticipation to complete satisfaction. But the more I watched, the more distracted I became. Instead of just observing the man's expression, I found myself wondering what it would be like to taste a beer that could give so much satisfaction. I took the trouble to look at the label on the bottle. The man was drinking Schlitz. I'd heard about Schlitz, of course, but I'd never tasted it. So I called the waiter and ordered the bottle. I discovered that Schlitz was more than a work of art. It was a masterpiece. Here was a beer so fine and so distinctive that the complete picture of its goodness could only be painted by tasting it. As I sat there drinking my glass of Schlitz and enjoying every drop, I happened to glance into the mirror. There was that same look of satisfaction I'd seen before. Only this time, I was wearing it. As an artist, I'd doff my beret, if I had one, to the beer that can commend such a reaction. No wonder they call Schlitz the beer that made Milwaukee famous.
That surround us here today.
And now back to Ivy, where Mrs. Hall is asking a question.
Would you prefer to be left alone with the boy, William, when he gets here?
On the contrary, Vicky, I wish you'd stay. After all, one of the reasons I married you was so that I could utilize your understanding for young people. Or did you think it was just because you were beautiful, charming, and I loved you very much?
Well, I really don't think you had very much to say about it, Toddy. The minute we met, I decided to marry you. And with typical British tenacity, I followed through. Any regrets?
Oh, no. I've liked it from the first. And not only for the usual reasons, love and affection and admiration and all that, but historically, our marriage has perspective.
It has, dear?
Yes, England has always been married to America. Oh, they may bicker a bit, criticize each other's manners, argue over the paycheck, but let one of them hear a burglar in the middle of the night and they start helping each other look through the bureau drawers for the family revolver. Which, for some reason, they never keep loaded. Yes, I always think that... was that the doorbell?
Yes, it must be Mr. Gray. And you do want me to stay?
Oh, please. You can be maternal while I am in loco parentis.
Well, whatever that is, dear, I'm sure you'll do it very successfully. Mr. Gray... Yes, Penny?
A young gentleman to see Dr. Hall, Mum.
Oh, bring him right in, Penny.
Yes, sir. Just step in here, please, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mrs. Hall.
How do you do?
Hello, Doctor. I'm Edward Gray.
I'm sorry I was out when you called before, Gray. Won't you sit down?
Thank you, sir.
Well, I think we've met before, Mr. Gray. You were kind enough to carry some books out to my car at the bookshop last week.
Oh, that was all right. I was just in there killing a couple hours anyway, buying some magic stuff.
Magic stuff?
Parlor magic, Doctor. It's kind of a hobby. Oh. Look, I'll show you. Here's a deck of cards. Take one. Any one.
Very well. This one.
Okay. Now put it back in the deck. You remember the card?
Yes, it was the...
No, don't tell William. Go ahead, Mr. Gray.
Okay. Now I shuffle the deck, fire a pistol, which I just happen to have in my left hand. And if you'll look up, Doctor, I believe that's the card you selected fastened to the ceiling with a thumbtack.
Well... That's, very interesting. How did you do that?
Oh, William, please. One never asks a magician to reveal a trick.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was very well done, Gray.
Thank you, sir. I have a lot of time to practice. I don't belong to any of the organizations around here, so... Well, that's why I wanted to see you.
Why, what do you mean?
I think maybe I ought to leave Ivy.
Well, it seems a little drastic, Gray. Have you discussed this with your faculty advisor?
No, sir. My faculty advisor is Professor Bolton, and he's a droop. I mean...
Oh, don't apologize, Mr. Gray. I think he's a bit of a droop myself.
Gee, you do?
Victoria, just maternal. Exactly why are you unhappy here, Gray? You've been getting good marks.
Oh, I don't have any trouble with studies, Doctor, but the guys... I mean, the men and girls I'd like to go around with... Well, I seem to attract just the free ride kids, if you know what I mean.
May I make a suggestion, Eddie? If I may call you Eddie?
Oh, sure, Mrs. Hall.
Get rid of that big, shiny convertible. Send it home. Get a broken-down jalopy.
Jalopy is the word, my dear. Its origin is obscure, although etymologists believe there is some slight connection with the Mexican word jalop, which is a purgative tuberous... Oh, excuse me. I didn't mean to be pedantic. You were saying?
Well, I was telling Mr. Gray to get rid of that big flashy car. Also, Eddie, your clothes are too good. Too obviously expensive. How do you expect to be one of the gang when you ride around looking like a Maharaja?
I think Mrs. Hall has a definite point there, Gray. A lot of Ivy students are working their way through school. How do you think you look to them? In your $200 suits and your $5,000 car. Why, good heavens, I resent you myself.
Gosh, I never thought of it like that. I've always had that stuff, and I wasn't trying to throw it around.
Eddie, will you do something for me?
I don't think there's anybody in the school that wouldn't do anything for you, Mrs. Hall.
Oh, thank you. The Junior Follies is just 6 weeks away, and we need you.
Me? You need me? Oh, gee, what for?
Well, we're rather desperately in need of a good act in one.
In one what?
In one. It means in front of the curtain while they change the scenes. And if you will do a magic act for 10 or 12 minutes, you'll be one of the most popular men in the school.
But, hey, I'm not good enough for that yet.
Well, you have 6 weeks to brush up, Graham.
Yeah, you said yourself you don't know what to do with your spare time.
Well, Oh, but look, I'll just have to have something to say, won't I? I can't just stand up there and throw rabbits around.
Well, can you meet me in the auditorium at, say, 3 tomorrow? Have your class then?
Oh, sure, but for this I'll cut it. How about my patter?
The word is pronounced pater, my boy, and I think he'll be very pleased when he hears the truth.
William, no.
What, dear, what?
He said patter, not pater. Patter means a monologue.
Oh.
All good magicians have a line of patter, Eddie, and I can write you one this very evening that can't possibly fail.
Oh, gee.
Please watch me closely, and you will notice that as I perform this feat, my hands never leave my arms. You know the sort of thing. Tomorrow, then.
Oh, it's a deal, Mrs. Hall. Thanks a lot, Doctor. This has been wonderful.
Yes, I found it rather interesting myself. Let me know how you get along, Eddie. Good day.
Bye, sir.
Bye. Bye.
Vicky, if you pull this boy out of his sensitive isolation and make him one of the crowd, it'll be a magic act of which you may well be proud.
Oh, nonsense, dear. He's really a nice boy. Not a pride. He'll be all right. And if he makes a fraternity, then maybe you can accept his father's donation to the gymnasium.
Oh, I think not, Vicky. I don't want to seem a stuffy moralist.
I get it. Dr. Hall's residence. Who? Oh, yes, Mr. Merriweather. Yes. Of course, I'll tell him. Yes, he'll be here. No, not at all. Goodbye.
Mr. Merriweather?
Yes. He and Mr. Wellman have something they want to discuss with you. 3 guesses, dear.
This is a certainty. Mr. Merriweather and Mr. Wellman have been asked, or have volunteered, to make me change my mind by coercion, persuasion, blackmail, or blunt instrument.
And can you, offhand, think of a blunter instrument than Mr. Wellman?
Oh, dear. Nor a duller one.
Oh, I hope to goodness they're not going to stay long. Dinner tonight is specially for you. Lentil soup.
Ah, lentil soup. With little bits of sausage swimming about in it. Wishing they were being eaten at Luchow's instead of Hall's, eh? You remember Luchow's on 14th Street, Vicky?
Yes, of course I do, Toddy. You took me there the night I landed in New York. Lentil soup, Wiener Schnitzel, strawberry pancakes. And I was the slim young actress with the new wardrobe who was about to open and give them tears.
Personally, by the time we'd walked all the way to Central Park, I was hungry again. Someday, Vicky, I shall endow the city of New York with a special Central Park bench, the Victoria Cromwell Memorial Bench for the exclusive use of lovers.
And you can put a little brass plate on it that says, if you sit here and it gently rains and you stay anyway, you have the blessings of William and Victoria. Better put your hat on, Toddy. It's raining.
Oh, it isn't raining very hard. It feels rather good. Refreshing. But I don't want you to catch cold.
Oh, I won't, dear. I've walked miles in fog worse than this.
You won't miss London and England too much, will you, Vicky?
If I was still Victoria Cromwell, I'd probably miss it terribly. But as Mrs. William Todhunter Hall, geography doesn't seem very important. Who means more to me than where?
Let me put my coat over your shoulders a little more. There. And your hands are getting wet.
I know. But if I put my gloves on, I can't look at my ring.
I'm afraid it's a very little ring.
Darling, it's the biggest thing that ever happened. I love it. And I love you. And I borrow your handkerchief? Thank you.
Oh, we'd better go. Your cheeks are getting wet.
Not from the rain, Toddy. I always weep when I'm happy. I think you should know it now, because I expect to be doing a lot of it.
I hope you'll never have to weep for any other reason, Vicky. Where your tears are concerned, I'm all for private ownership of water power. Oh, my dear, you're so...
Well, now, what's all this?
Oh, hello, officer. It's a lovely evening, isn't it?
No, it isn't. It's raining.
Oh.
Why don't you go home? I'm paid to stay out in it, but you're not.
I'm being amply compensated, officer, so don't worry about us. My wife and I like the rain.
Oh, your wife? I thought you were sweethearts. Well, guess I don't have to worry about you two carving your initials on the bench. Good night to you.
Good night, officer. Oh, cynical fellow. Doesn't think husbands and wives can be sweethearts. I think we should teach him a lesson.
How, Toddy?
Have you a jackknife? I'm going to carve 2 hearts entwined on this bench. WTH loves VC. I think I...
Toddy?
Oh, what's a little thunder? It isn't raining hard enough to...
Toddy, this isn't thunder. Someone's knocking.
Well, let them knock. Our first night in New York and...
William, dear, there's somebody at the door.
At the door? What door? Central Park hasn't any... Oh, the door! Our door! Oh, yes. Yes. Well, maybe it's a good thing. I might have carved our initials on the piano.
Toddy. Toddy, you are an incurable daydreamer.
Yes, I'm afraid I am, Victoria. Incurable and incredibly lucky.
Lucky? Why?
Because, my darling, few daydreamers can return to an actuality one half as pleasant as mine.
Mr. Merriweather and Mr. Wellman to see you, Doctor.
Oh, good afternoon, Mr. Merriweather.
Oh,
Mr.
Wellman.
Wellman.
Merriweather.
Please sit down, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mrs. Hall. Won't keep you but a few minutes, Doctor. You probably know what we're calling about.
Yes, I think I do.
It's about an offer of $250,000 toward our new gymnasium, Dr. Hall. Am I correct in believing that you refuse to accept it?
Quite correct, Mr. Wellman.
Personally, Doctor, I don't think you'd turn down a sum of money like that without some very good reason. Clarence here and some of the other board members are pretty upset about it. Upset, did I say? Gad, sir, their ulcers were jumping like popcorn.
The Board of Governors had a right to be upset, Merriweather. As badly as this college needs $250,000, it's ridiculous.
Yes, we know, Clarence. It's a lot of money, but money isn't everything. It's almost everything, I'll admit, but let's give Dr. Hall a chance to explain. How about it, Doctor?
Oh, it's very simple, Mr. Merriweather. To me, at least.
Well, to me, it's a downright...
Be quiet, Clarence, you witch burner. Yes, Doctor.
Gentlemen, when an institution dedicated to shaping the characters of future citizens accepts money from a dubious source, it must also be prepared to accept the accusation of undue influence.
I couldn't agree with you more, Doctor.
And I couldn't disagree more, Merriweather. The source of this donation is not important when you consider the benefits of a new gymnasium in this college.
Excuse me, Mr. Wellman.
Yes, Mrs. Hall.
Mr. Melliot warned my husband that you wouldn't care for his attitude.
He was right, I don't.
Victoria,
and
dear,
I'm sure he had no intention of disturbing any friendly relations that you might have with Mr. Melliot.
What friendly relations? Is that hoodlum a pal of yours, Clarence?
Certainly not. Don't be an idiot, Merriweather. I know the man only in a business way.
Business? What business would you have with Melliot?
Oh, it was a long time ago and not important. I had stock in some cleaning establishments, and Melliot used his influence to... that is, we had a little labor trouble.
Is this general knowledge, Mr. Wellman?
No, I don't think so. I hope not. But the point is...
The point is, Clarence, that you're a dead duck. What a juicy item for the papers. College official uses influence to take donation from ex-gangster friend.
Good gracious, man. You don't think...
They'd hang you from the chapel steeple and you know it.
It's bad money, Mr. Wellman. We can't take it. I'm sorry if you disagree.
He doesn't disagree. Neither will anyone else on the board when I explain it to him. You're right again, Doctor. I don't know why we can't seem to learn that. Come on, Clarence.
Very well. But $250,000.
It's a lot of lettuce, but there's too much oil in the dressing. Good night, Doctor.
Good night.
Good night, Mrs. Hall.
Good night, Mr. Wellman. Good night.
I think you handled that very well, William.
It was Merriweather who handled it, my dear. Merriweather and you.
I?
My dear girl, now don't look so innocent. That sympathetic remark of yours about not wishing to disturb the tender relationship between Wellman and Melliot, that was blackmail. Sheer, downright, beautiful blackmail. And, yes, Penny?
Dinner is served, sir, and will you be in this evening?
Yes, Penny.
No, Penny.
What, dear?
We're going for a walk. We always go for a walk after lentil soup in the park. Now, let me think. Where did I put my jackknife?
I was curious. I tasted it. Now I know why Schlitz is the beer that made Milwaukee famous.
And here again are Mr. and Mrs. Ronald Coleman.
My dear, there are times when I think that you should be president of Ivy College.
Why on earth should you think that?
Well, there's a popular belief that the female of the species is devious, indirect, and entirely intuitive. Personally, I find the methods of your sex appallingly straightforward. I once wrote a 2-line verse on the subject.
Well, tell.
I called it Advice on Practical Plumbing, but it contains a rather atrocious pun. It went something like this. For that difficult task, just go to your bench and select for the job an adjustable wench.
I think that's very amusing, dear. And if you'll excuse me, I'll go and adjust myself for dinner.
Certainly, darling. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
We'll be seeing you next week at this time at the Halls of Ivy, starring Mr. and Mrs. Ronald Coleman. The other players were Herbert Butterfield, Willard Waterman, William Conrad, Gil Stratton Jr., Ted Osborne, and Gloria Gordon. Tonight's script was written by Don Quinn and Walter Brown Newman. Our music was composed and conducted by Henry Russell. The Halls of Ivy was created by Don Quinn, directed by Nat Wolf, and presented by the Joseph Schlitz Brewing Company of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Ken Carpenter speaking.
Oh, we love the halls of ivy that surround us here today, and we will not forget though we be far, far away.
Next, hear We the People over most of these same NBC stations.
Ladies and gentlemen, Colgate Dental Cream presents The Dennis Day Show, written by Frank Galen, with Paula Winslow, Dink Trout, John Brown, Charles Dant in the orchestra, yours truly, Vern Smith, and starring our popular young singer in A Day in the Life of Dennis Day. Twice a day and before every date, use Colgate Dental Cream to clean your breath while you clean your teeth. Here's Dennis Day to sing My Pretty Girl.
My pretty girl, I'm always dreaming of you. My pretty girl, my darling, how I love you. Promise me you will never leave me. Promise me you will never grieve me. Promise me you will not deceive me. Oh, my pretty girl, please give me just one kiss, one sweet kiss you won't miss. For your kiss brings such bliss to my lonely heart. My pretty girl, I'm always dreaming of you. My pretty girl, my darling, how I love you. Promise me you will never leave me. Promise me you will never grieve me. Promise me you will not deceive me. Oh, my pretty girl. Okay, now, ready to person. Here we go. Oh, lead 'em up center and around outside and balance on your corner. Oh, swing that pretty little girl and dominate the one that's left behind you. Dance with me through the night, let my arms hold you tight, and with dawn's early light, let me take you home. Oh, my pretty girl, I'm always dreaming of you. My pretty girl, my darling, how I love you. Promise me you will never leave me. Promise me you will never grieve me. Promise me you will not deceive me. Oh, my pretty girl, promise me you will love me ever. Promise me you will leave me never. Promise me we'll remain together. Oh, my pretty girl. Oh, my pretty girl.
Colgate Dental Cream cleans your breath while it cleans your teeth. No other toothpaste does a better job of cleaning your teeth than Colgate Dental Cream. For Colgate Dental Cream has a safe polishing agent that cleans your teeth both gently and thoroughly, brings out their natural sparkle and beauty. And scientific tests prove that Colgate Dental Cream cleans your breath while it cleans your teeth. Yes, actual scientific tests prove conclusively that in 7 out of 10 cases, Colgate Dental Cream instantly stops unpleasing breath that originates in the mouth. Colgate Dental Cream is famous for its wonderful wake-up flavor, too. Nationwide tests of leading toothpaste prove that Colgate Dental Cream is preferred for flavor over other brands tested. So try Colgate Dental Cream to bring out the natural sparkle and beauty of your teeth. For a wake-up flavor you'll thoroughly enjoy. And use Colgate Dental Cream twice a day and before every date to clean your breath while you clean your teeth. Well, as you know, our young hero, Dennis Day, rooms at the Anderson boarding house in Weaverville. And as you also know, it isn't very often that we find his landlady, Mrs. Anderson, in a very affectionate or loving mood. But this is one of those rare occasions. For you see, the Andersons are to celebrate their 22nd wedding anniversary this week. And now, as Mrs. Anderson discusses the tender event with her spouse, the love light fairly beams from her eyes.
Herbert.
Yes, Bunny Fluff.
I do want to give you something nice for our anniversary. A gift that would make you really happy. Is there something you've been longing to have?
Oh, mercy, no. No, you're the only gift I'd ever ask of life, Lotus Face.
Oh, but there must be some little present you'd like to have, Herbert.
Well, there is something I've always wanted, but I'm afraid it would be awfully expensive.
What, dear?
An electric dishwasher.
I'm afraid that would be a little expensive, Herbert. You better think of something cheaper.
Well, I'll try it, little dumpling.
Well, the Andersons' impending anniversary is a problem not only to the Andersons, but to our young hero, Dennis, as well. And we find him now at Willoughby's drugstore trying to solve it in his own peculiar way.
Mr. Willoughby.
Yes, Dennis?
You know something? You look to me like the type of fellow who's a real good sport.
Well, thank you, Dennis.
I'll bet when an attractive young brunette asks you for something, you just can't say no, can you?
I guess that's true, my boy.
Fine. Can I have an advance on my salary?
Dennis, your shape is somewhat different from the attractive brunette I had in mind.
Yeah, I was afraid you'd notice it, but I need the money.
Dennis, don't you realize that you're asking for money you haven't earned yet? Why, that's practically like stealing.
It is?
Certainly. If I gave it to you, I'd be starting you on the road to corruption. Now, what's it to be for you, my boy? Corruption or integrity?
Could I have about $6 worth of corruption, please?
No, son. I feel I must watch out for your best interests.
But it's terribly important, Mr. Willoughby. This week is the Andersons' anniversary, and I want to buy them a present.
Well, I'm sure they'd appreciate a beautiful anniversary card every bit as much. We carry some lovely ones. And since you're working here, I'll let you have them for cost, plus only my profit.
Sir, I really feel I should give them a gift. You see, Mildred is spending $10 on the picture frame she's giving them, and I think I ought to spend it.
A picture frame? Why not give them your picture to put in it?
Oh, I don't think Mrs. Anderson would care for my picture around the house, Mr. Willoughby. It might look just like me.
Dennis, if Mrs. Anderson doesn't like you, it's because she doesn't really know you. Give her a charming photograph of yourself so she can get familiar with the real you.
But I'm afraid familiarity would just breed some more of what she's got for me now.
Nonsense. Now, my wife's brother has just opened a photographic studio over on Maple Street. Perhaps if you helped him out around the place, he'd take a portrait of you in exchange for your services.
You mean I work off the price of the picture?
Sure, in your spare time from your job here.
Boy, that's a swell idea, Mr. Willoughby. I'll go over and tell him I'm free any morning before 7 a.m. or any afternoon after 10 p.m.
You mean you're going to work for him in your spare time in return for having your picture taken?
That's right, Mildred. I start tonight.
But I should think he'd want to hire an expert on photography.
Well, I kind of let him think I was. But don't worry, Mildred. I'll be a big help to him. I have been already.
Well, what do you mean?
Well, while he was busy, I found a room in the back he'd forgotten to put a light in, so I put in a nice bright one and turned it on.
Dennis, that's the developing room. It's supposed to be dark.
Oh, gee, I hope he doesn't find out I did it. He'll fire me, and I'll never get that picture of myself for your mother.
Oh, yes, I know. Mr. Willoughby really thinks Mother will fall in love with your picture, huh?
Uh-huh. I figured 10 minutes after she got it, she'd draw a mustache on it, but he says no.
Golly, I sure hope he's right.
Well, she'll have to have it around for a little while anyway, because there's no other picture she can put in that frame you're giving her.
Yes, that's where we're lucky.
Yeah.
Good morning, children.
Oh, good morning, Daddy.
Morning, Mr. Anderson. Well, the big day will be arriving pretty soon now, huh?
Yes. 22 years ago this Friday, my wife and I met at the altar. Poopsie, the triumphant bride, and I, the blushing groom.
Gee, 22 years. Have you been happy all that time, Mr. Anderson?
Oh, happiness isn't the word for it, Dennis.
No, sir, I didn't think it was.
Daddy means he's been extremely happy, Dennis.
Oh, indeed I have been. Two people can be gloriously happy once they decide that marriage is a matter of give and take, and which of them's going to do what.
I guess so.
Have you decided on an anniversary present for Mother yet, Daddy?
You bet I have. Oh, and will she be thrilled. I'll tell you what it is if you promise to keep it a secret.
You bet.
Well, I've decided to give her a picture of myself.
Oh, no.
Huh?
Mr. Anderson, let's not be hasty. There must be thousands of things she'd like better than your picture.
Oh, yes, Daddy. Why not give her something practical?
Or attractive.
Now, see here.
Why not give her some dainty little underthing that women wear under their dresses like a money belt?
Dennis!
I'll bet Mother would just love a nice nail set.
That's it, with a hammer to match.
But Poopsie wants my picture. She's always said that I'd look lovely over the mantelpiece.
Well, maybe she's mistaken. Climb up there and let's find out.
I'll do nothing of the kind. And just remember now, you promised to keep this a secret. Goodbye.
Gosh, what are we going to do now, Mildred? If he gives her his picture, she'll never put mine in your frame.
Well, she still might, Dennis. Maybe she won't like the picture of Daddy. Mother's convinced that no one in the family takes a good picture but herself.
Yeah, but I'm...
Oh, Mildred, has your father gone out yet?
Oh, he just left, Mother.
Oh, good. I didn't want him to hear this. Do you know what I'm going to give him for our anniversary? Oh, I bet you love the idea as much as I do.
What, Mother?
My picture.
You lose.
Mother, are you sure that's the right present for Dad?
What?
Yeah, why give him your picture? Flip him $50 and let him get something he'll enjoy.
Whether you two like it or not, Herbert is getting my picture for his anniversary present, and that's that.
Boy, I'm glad you're not a dominating woman like your mother, Mildred. Well, I guess I'd better forget about having my picture taken, huh?
You'll do nothing of the kind. Didn't Mr. Willoughby say that your picture would make Mother love you?
Yes, but...
You're going to that studio tonight.
Yes, but...
And you're going to have your picture taken.
Yes, but...
And you're not coming back here without it. Understand?
Yes, Poopsie.
Sam, ready to go to work.
Oh, yes, Mr. Day. I've been wanting to ask you something about my dark room. Were you by any chance the one who...
Me? Oh, no, sir, not me. Why, I know better than to...
Well, go on.
It'll sound better if you ask the question first.
You know what happened yesterday? When I finished taking pictures of that lovely young model, Miss Latour, we went into the dark room together and found a light on.
So nothing developed, huh?
I'm not sure I know what you mean.
Me either.
Oh, well, I suppose it's ridiculous to think you did such a thing. After all, as you told me yesterday, you've studied photography all your life.
Oh, sure. Know it backwards and forwards. Gee, you've certainly got some swell equipment around here.
Yes, we try to keep up with the times.
What's this thing right here?
It's called a camera.
Oh, comes in very handy every now and then, I guess.
Yes. Well, shall we get to work? I want you to carry my plates inside for me.
Your plates?
Yes.
Oh, you got a good job there. I could have sworn they were your own.
Today I'm referring to photographic plates.
Oh.
You've heard of them, having studied photography all of your life?
Oh, sure, sure.
We're going to put them in the bath.
Yeah, nothing like clean plates, I always say.
You may stop saying it any time you choose.
Yes, sir.
Naturally, the developing bath must be tested before the plates go in. You realize that?
Oh, don't worry. I'll stick my big toe in first.
But today, I fear we were not meant for each other. Goodbye. It's been frightening to have met you.
Wait, please, Mr. Kendall. I've just got to get a picture of myself to give to my girl's folks. Don't fire me.
I'm sorry, my boy, but I've just opened up here. You should try someone who's ready to close down.
Well, I could get you lots of customers, Mr. Kendall. You're just starting, and I know everyone in town.
Do you, by any chance, know Mrs. Courtney?
The banker's wife? Oh, sure.
Well, if I could get her to pose for a portrait, I'd just about be made around here. Get her for me, and you can have your picture.
Gosh, I'll bet I can. I'll pretend to be a famous foreign photographer from Italy or someplace. Mrs. Courtney is always very much impressed with foreigners.
Fine. Pretend you're a foreigner, Mr. Day. And may I just say in parting that I sincerely believe it's America's loss that you're only pretending.
Gee, thanks. I think.
Yes?
Signora Courtney, it makes it for you a great pleasure to meet me, is it?
Why, who are you, my good man?
I am Signor Tottori, the greatest photographer in all Italy.
Oh, really? Whom have you photographed?
Why, I'm a snap of the king himself in action.
Victor Emmanuel?
Oh, sure, both of those fellas, too.
I don't understand.
I'm a snap of all of the crown heads of Europe, lady. The king of England, the king of Greece, the king of France, the king of...
King of France?
Marshal!
Why, the last king of France has been dead for over 100 years.
How do you like that? And he said it was my fault he don't look good in the picture.
Now I see, Signor Tortoni. You're joking with me.
It's nice you feel it that way.
Tell me, do you come from the north of Italy, Signor, or down south near Sicily?
Down south near Sicily. Of course, the Sicily move up north when she gets married.
Oh, no. The Sicily I'm referring to is down at the toe of the Italian boot.
Well, the one I'm talking about, to get kicked around plenty, too.
Your sense of humor is divine.
Well, I hate to think where I'd be without yours.
You Italians. I just love Italy. It's such a beautiful country.
That's nice. So now we get down to business, huh?
Remember the ruins of the Colosseum in Rome?
No, I left it before the war. Well, we get down to business. Mr. Courtney, I would like to take your picture.
My picture? Oh, how flattering.
Oh, I'm no flatter you. You're very pretty, Mr. Courtney.
Ah.
I'll bet you there's no other sight like you on earth, except maybe the Alps.
Well, you darling boy. I'd love you to take my picture.
That's fine. Here's the card. You come to this address. Goodbye.
Arrivederci, signor.
Beg your pardon?
I said arrivederci, signor.
Oh, $10 a dozen. Well, goodbye.
Yes?
How do you do? I'm Mrs. Courtney. I have an appointment for a sitting.
Mrs. Courtney, you did come. Well, sit right down. I'll be with you immediately.
You'll be with me. Young man, I'll have no assistants taking my picture. I want the great Signor Tortoni himself.
You mean... Mrs. Courtney, you'd be making a big mistake, really.
See here. I know what I'm doing.
This I will lay 8-5 against.
Go fetch the Signor at once.
Yes, Mrs. Courtney, of course. Dave, put on that smock. I'm bringing Mrs. Courtney in, and you're going to take her picture.
Me? But gosh, you know I don't know anything
You'll have to
about...
do the best you can. I'm not going to lose her.
But, Mr. Kendall, look,
Right this way, Mrs. Courtney.
There you are, dear Signor Tortoni. Your assistant wanted to take my picture, but of course I demanded you. You know, I feel you'll do something really unusual with me.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Well, I'll do the best I can.
See that you do. I'll be back later.
Now, how would you like me to pose, Signor?
Well, let's see. What's a good popular pose? How about lying on your stomach on a white fur rug?
If you don't mind, we'll just have a nice, dignified picture with me sitting in this chair.
Okay. Hold it still now. I get under the camera.
Ooh. Why, what's the matter?
It's dark in here. Well, we go ahead with the picture. I think we got... Mr. de Courtney, please, no tricks.
What?
You asked me for the dignified picture. Then a minute I look at you in the camera, you're sitting on your head.
Why, Signor Tortoni. You always see things upside down in a camera.
Oh, really? What do you know from this? Well, we go back to work in 1 more minute.
I nearly finished in here. There's a Mrs. Anderson here, and she wants to have...
Mrs. Anderson, quick, Mr. Courtney. You step in the dark room, but just for a minute. Please.
The dark room? Why, what on earth?
Before I can take your picture, you've got to be a little more developed.
Developed? Why, since when is the subject developed instead of the picture?
We're starting a whole new system. In the dark room, please. Quick.
Have you gone mad, Dave?
Mrs. Anderson is my landlady. If she sees me, the jig is up with Mrs. Courtney. I'll get back under the camera. You get her in here, and we'll get rid of her fast.
Okay. Right in here, Mrs. Anderson.
All right. Where do you wish me to sit?
You'll find her right there. Steady. I take the picture. You see the birdie? No, I take anyway. Okay, next.
Oh, my goodness. I didn't even have time to put on my makeup.
The way I take the picture, makeup is to do you no good at all. Goodbye.
Come along, Mrs. Anderson.
Well, I must say this is very unusual.
You can come out now, Mr. Courtney.
Well, really, Signor Tortoni, this is fantastic. I'm beginning to think you don't know any more about photography than a soda jerk.
Please, let's not complicate things with the good guesses. Sit right down now. I take the picture. That's fine. Hold it. Now we got him.
I have another customer, Senor, a Mr. Anderson.
Mrs. Courtney, I have just noticed something. You are developed fine here and there, but there and here you no look so good. You go back in the dark room. 2 more minutes, huh?
Senor, this is absolutely ridiculous.
Please, you don't want to develop a picture. In with you.
Right this way, Mr. Anderson.
Yes, shall I sit down?
Hold it still. Fine. Goodbye.
You mean it's all over?
My sure.
But I wasn't even smiling.
So what? You got a very little to be happy about.
Goodbye. My goodness, this certainly is the age of speed.
out again.
Now, see here. This is preposterous. It's completely unnecessary, and you know it.
But it was necessary, Mrs. Courtney. Honest it was.
Signor Tortoni, what happened to your accent?
Is it too late to put him back on, huh?
Much too late.
Tom and a gun.
Happy anniversary, Mother. Happy anniversary, Daddy. And here's a present for you both.
Oh, a picture frame. How nice, Mildred.
Yes, thank you, dear. I wish we had a picture of someone to put in it.
Yeah, I do, too.
To tell the truth, Pupsy, I did want to give you my picture today. I even had one taken, but, well, here, look how it turned out.
Why, is this you, Herbert? Where's your face? And your legs?
All they got was my stomach.
Gee, sort of a pot shot, huh?
Well, I have a confession, too, Herbert. I also had my picture taken. Here, look at it.
My goodness, they missed you entirely.
Yes. How could a photographer be so stupid? There was something about that man's voice, too. It was so familiar.
Well, I think I'll go to bed.
Dennis?
Yes, ma'am?
Let me hear you say, watch the birdie. But say it with an Italian accent.
Okay. Sure now, Faith, amigara, will you be looking at the birdie there, bigara?
Do you call that an Italian accent?
It's as close as I care to get. Well, good night, everybody.
Dennis Day will be back in just a moment with a song. But first, here's a fact worth knowing. Colgate Dental Cream cleans your breath while it cleans your teeth. And that's important, as our Colgate players are going to demonstrate. Tonight, as the Colgate curtain goes up, we find two pretty young girls deep in one of those heart-to-heart talks about men.
It's weird, that's what it is. Jim had me thinking he was definitely serious, and then he just suddenly began to act funny. Well, you're his sister. Has he said anything to you about me or anything I could have done?
Well, Jim's really in a tough spot, Judy. Yes, he has given me some idea of what's wrong, so I guess maybe it's sort of my job to set you straight. But do I ever dread it?
Dread what? What are you talking about?
I'm talking about you, and a darn tickly subject, Judy. Look, honey, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but you need your dentist to guide you, Judy.
And here's what Judy found out. Scientific tests have proved that in 7 out of 10 cases, Colgate Dental Cream instantly stops unpleasing breath that originates in the mouth. What's more, Colgate Dental Cream's safe polishing agent brings out the natural sparkle of your teeth, cleans them thoroughly and safely. Yes, Colgate Dental Cream cleans your breath while it cleans your teeth. And Colgate Dental Cream is famous for its wonderful wake-up flavor, too. In fact, nationwide tests of leading toothpaste prove that Colgate Dental Cream is preferred for flavor over other brands tested. So, to clean your teeth thoroughly and safely, for a wake-up flavor everyone enjoys, use Colgate Dental Cream. Remember, Colgate Dental Cream cleans your breath while it cleans your teeth. Here's Dennis with Charles Dant and the orchestra, the beautiful arrangement of Heartaches. Not a liquid, not a soap, but an utterly new cream shampoo that leaves hair soft, radiant, glamorous, and also easy to manage. It's Luster Cream Shampoo, created by Kay Dumas, who combined rich lanolin with secret ingredients. Use Luster Cream Shampoo and see how soft, how naturally lovely, how brilliantly alive and well-behaved your hair can be. Ask for Luster Cream Shampoo at cosmetic counters. This is Vern Smith reminding you that Dennis Day can be heard with Jack Benny every Sunday, and be sure to be with us again next week for another Dennis Day program. More songs, more adventures in the life of our star, Dennis Day. Meanwhile, be sure to use Colgate Dental Cream to clean your breath while you clean your teeth. This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
From Hollywood, Colgate Tooth Powder for a breath that's sweet and teeth that sparkle presents the Mel Blanc Show. Colgate Tooth Powder for a breath that's sweet and teeth that sparkle brings you the Mel Blanc Show with Mary Jane Croft, Earl Ross, B. Benaderet, Joe Kearns, Leora Thatcher, Zookie, and Victor Miller and his orchestra. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard Mel Blanc as the happy postman.
Hello, Mrs. Burns. Here's your mail. Well, goodbye, Mrs. Burns. Remember, keep smiling.
You've heard him as the famous train caller.
Train leaving on track 5 for Anaheim, Azusa, and Cucamonga.
You've heard him as the lovable character Zookie.
Well, in the Fix-It Shop, I'm the president, I'm the vice president, I'm the vice president, I'm the treasurer, I sweep out the place.
You've heard him as the famous Warner Brothers cartoon character Bugs Bunny.
What's up, Doc?
Now hear him as the star in his own show.
Hello, Mel Blanc's Fix-It Shop. You bend it, we mend it.
Fix-It Shop, where you're pretty sure to find things in an awful fix. Well, it seems that Mel's fiancée, Betty, has been dropping none too subtle hints about the need for efficiency in the Fix-It Shop. I wouldn't say that Uncle Rupert and Zookie are exactly moochers, but, well, they're more than just a little worried.
Zookie, we have to show that we're efficient around here, or else. So you'd better try working faster.
Oh, I'm quick, all right. See, I'm like a bolt of lightning. I'm a regular dynamo. I think I blew a fuse.
Zookie, here comes Mel. Quick, get busy.
Hey, okay.
Hello, Mel. What kept you so long?
Oh, that Adams job was bigger than I expected. Her toaster wasn't the only thing Mrs. Adams broke. She broke her lawnmower, and she broke her electric iron.
I hope you presented the lady with a substantial bill.
I couldn't. Mrs. Adams was broke, too.
Oh, I see.
Hey, Uncle Rupert, Betty's right. As a businessman, I'm a washout. We need a little efficiency around here. Just look at this place. It's a shambles.
Oh, I don't know. It just has a sort of a lived-in feeling.
Yeah, lived in. I'm serious. Just look at that cigar butt on the floor. Is that yours, Uncle?
No, my lad. You saw it first.
Oh, stop kidding.
My, you are in a sour mood, nephew. Look, why don't you get yourself a ticket for the girly review at the Gaiety tomorrow night? It'll cheer you up.
Now, Uncle.
Have you seen the pictures of Fifi Devine, the star? Why, that gorgeous little lady has everything. And she carries it so well.
Uncle Rupert, you know I wouldn't waste a breath on any other girl but Betty. Why, Betty's the most wonderful girl. And...
Hello there, sugar boy. I'm Fifi Devine.
Oh, boy. I thought you weren't going to waste a breath.
On her, it wasn't wasted. Gosh, I feel better already.
You've got a sign outside that says you can fix anything under the sun.
I specialize in little jobs under the moon.
Look, Pop, get back to your funny papers. I'll talk to your straight man here.
Well, what can I do for you, miss?
Well, I'm the star of the Pin-Up Girl Review opening at the Gaiety Theater tomorrow night. You've been at the Gaiety, haven't you, sugar boy?
Oh, sure. I go there practically every night.
Why, Melvin.
Well, it's the only place in town you can get Hershey bars.
Oh, you're cute. Look, sugar boy, you see this little gadget? I want you to fix it for me.
Sure. It's just a little zipper.
Oh, it's not just a little zipper. There's only one like it. It was made especially for me in my harem dance.
Harem dance?
Mm-hmm. That's the one Anna didn't do for the King of Siam.
Why not? Did he have a weak heart?
You see, in my dance, the miracle zipper drops off one veil when I go like this, another one when I go like this, and another one when I go like this.
Look, Uncle, no hands.
Well, make sure you have my miracle zipper ready by tomorrow. Goodbye, sugar boy.
Well, Mr. Vine, it just happens I'm going your way. Which way are you going? Gee.
Hello, sugar boy.
Hello. Hello, Betty. Well, you see, there was something wrong with her zipper, so naturally, she thought of me. Huh? I didn't see you come in.
Obviously.
Oh, that was Fifi Devine, the glamorous dancer at the Gaiety.
Glamorous? Huh. I can't say she wears clothes very well.
Wearing clothes isn't her specialty.
Never mind. I have something more important to talk to you about, Mel.
I know, Betty. Efficiency.
Yes. I finally found a man who will tell you how to run your business, what to buy, what to sell, and how much to charge.
Gee, he must be from Washington.
Well, he's an efficiency expert, just came to town. Herbert Goodhue. Now, are you or are you not going to let me get a hold of him for you?
Well, okay, honey. When will you get in touch with him?
The day before yesterday.
Oh, the day before? Huh?
Yes, I wanted to make sure you wouldn't change your mind.
Mr. Blank, I'm Herbert Goodhue, the efficiency expert. How do you feel? Well, I had a little cold. Who cares? Huh? That's your first lesson in efficiency, Blank. I've just known you a few minutes. How could I possibly care how you feel? But you asked me. Always get to the point. That's the Goodhue speedy-deedy way. Speedy-deedy? Now, listen, Mr. Blank. I'll give you an example of what real efficiency can do for people. For instance, when Mrs. Goodhue and I converse, we use my famous peachy-speechy system. Peachy-speechy? Not a word wasted. For instance, if I want to compliment Mrs. Goodhue on a delicious dinner, I do not say, "Darling, the flounder was so delicious it simply melted in my mouth." You don't, huh? No, indeedy. That wouldn't be speedy-deedy. I leave out all the unimportant words and say, "Darling, flounder, mouth." Well, I guess you can get away with that as long as you say darling. What's that you're fooling with? Oh, I have to see about Miss Fifi's zipper. Well, what you do outside of business hours is no concern of the Goodhue efficiency program. Mr. Goodhue, I don't think you understand. I see I'll have to change your whole business approach. First of all, how do you say no to your customers? Oh, I just open my mouth and it rolls out. When you say no, you've got to make people realize you mean it. Oh? I have proved that dogs and guinea pigs, that when you shake your finger in their faces and say no, spelling it out, N-O, they react fastest. Well, what about the dogs and guinea pigs that can't spell? Number 2, another feature of my speedy-deedy plan. Yeah? Look at this mad jumble here in your shop. When I'm through, every time you turn around, you'll fall over just what you're looking for. It never fails. Do you sell accident insurance, too? And number 3, that's the hearty-to-party way of saying goodbye. Gosh, I better write all these things down. It's a goodbye with just a touch of hello in it, like this. Goodbye! Gosh, that may sound like you're glad to see them go. Oh, you're a lucky man, Mr. Blank. When I'm through in your fix-it shop today, you'll be master of speedy-deedy, peachy-speechy, and hearty-to-party. Okie dokie. Okay. I'll do it for Betty. Ah, that's the old speedy-deedy. I'll do it even if it drives me slappy-happy. You want me to fix this vase, Mrs. Otis?
Yes, if you please, Melvin. Oh, you should see my little grandchild. Poor little fellow, he's teething. My daughter just has to keep burping him all the time.
Who cares?
Huh? What was that?
Speedy-deedy, speedy-deedy.
Mel Blanc, you're much too old for baby talk.
About your vase, the answer is no.
No.
N-O. No.
I I don't understand you.
Funny, dogs and guinea pigs understand.
Take your finger off of my face. I think you've gone mad. Give me back my vase.
Okay, where is it? Oh,
Oh, my vase. My precious Chinese vase.
you see, another feature of the Speedy Deedy plan. You can't turn around without falling over just what you're looking for. It never fails.
I'm getting out of here, but you're going to pay for that vase, and I'm going to tell everybody to stay away from this store.
Oh, Mrs. Otis, I almost forgot. Hardy the party. Goodbye. Gosh, Uncle Rupert, Mr. Goodhue's efficiency plan is ruining me. I lost 3 good customers already today.
4. Don't forget Mrs. Longnecker, my beloved Clara, the richest woman in town.
Did she walk out, too?
Not before she slapped my face.
But why?
I decided to try Mr. Goodhue's peachy-speechy system to propose marriage. You know, leave out all the unimportant words.
Well?
My, was I eloquent. I suggested I come and live with her in her mansion, spend all our days together, perhaps have a few little ones.
Well, those are certainly honorable intentions.
I meant them to be, but one of the unimportant little words I left out of my proposal was marriage.
What's going to happen next? Well, I fixed Miss Fifi's zipper, but I can't find it anywhere.
What?
All this darn efficiency stuff. Oh, I'll ruin her career. She'll drag me into court. She'll sue me for every dollar I've got. I just hope Mr. Goodhue was satisfied.
Now, Melvin.
He and his Speedy Deedy, peachy speechy, hardy to party. He just left out the most important thing, that's all.
What's that, nephew?
Harry Carey.
Colgate tooth powder, keep smiling just right. Use it each morning and use it each night.
Don't take a chance with your romance.
Use Colgate tooth powder.
How often it happens, you meet a man and you think he's a nice fellow, but what? Well, you hate to say it, but it's that little breath of trouble. I mean, unpleasing breath. And the chances are this chap doesn't dream that a breath of trouble is tagging him, making him unpopular, hindering him in business, spoiling his fun. Without suspecting it, you may be the victim of unpleasing breath. So be on your guard against it. Just do this. Brush your teeth night and morning and before every date with Colgate tooth powder. For Colgate tooth powder cleans your breath as it cleans your teeth. Yes, scientific tests have definitely proved that in 7 cases out of 10, Colgate tooth powder instantly stops unpleasing breath that originates in the mouth. What's more, no dentifrice at any price cleans your teeth more quickly and thoroughly than Colgate tooth powder. Remember to buy it first thing. And remember the name Colgate tooth powder with the accent on powder.
Don't take a chance with your romance.
Use Colgate tooth powder.
Well, let's drop back again at Mel Blanc's Fix-It Shop, where the new efficiency plan of Speedy Deedy, Peachy Speechy, and Hearty to Party has the morale very low indeedy weedy.
Sookie, if Fifi sues Mel and he loses the shop, we'll be out on the street. Frankly, I'm worried.
Oh, yes, so am I. I'm beside myself with it. I'm beside myself with. I'm beside myself. Hey, it's getting crowded in here.
There's only one chance. Mel is out somewhere trying to find something like that zipper right now.
Gosh, I sure hope he finds it.
Good Lord, here comes Fifi now. You talk to her, Sookie.
Me?
But don't tell her Mel lost that zipper. Don't let her pry it out of you. I'm leaving for the back door.
Oh, don't worry. I'll take care of her. I know what to tell her. I know just what I'm going to say.
Hello, sugar boy.
I'll say,
My, you're cute. Who are you?
I'm Zuki. I work for Mel.
Where is your boss? I came to pick up my zipper.
Well, Mel just stepped out for a minute. He'll be back in a couple of hours. He'll be back with you. I think he got lost.
Well, we don't need him, Zookie. Fifi just wants her zipper. Now tell me where Mel left it. Come on, sugar boy.
No.
Oh, you can tell me anything. We're here all alone, aren't we?
Just you and me.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice and cozy. Yeah, but I can always call for help.
We're all alone. And after all, you're a man, and I'm a woman.
Well, let's leave it that way, huh?
Oh, I'm tired of this. You tell that pin-headed boss of yours, if I don't have that zipper for my show tonight, I'll sue him for every dollar he's got. Don't you butt me. Do you know what that zipper's supposed to do for me tonight?
Oh, sure. Keep your shirt on.
Oh, darling, I'm so sorry. This whole efficiency business is my fault. But I was just thinking of you.
Oh, it's not you, Betty. It's just that I'm not good enough for you.
Mel, don't you dare talk like that.
Well, I know a couple of people who can't see why you want to marry me. Your mother, and your father,
Oh, darling.
your grandmother, Uncle Emmett, Cousin Oliver.
Darling.
Then there's a couple of others. Mr. Thayer, the banker. Mr. Cooney, the traffic cop. Mr. Abernathy, the taxidermist.
Stop.
My old scoutmaster. My landlady. The 4-H Club. The American Legion. The Shriners. The UNO.
Oh, darling, you're such a fool. But I do love you.
I love you too, Betty. I'll get out of this somehow. I'll just keep a stiff lower lip.
Mel, the expression is upper lip.
Well, can I help it if it's my lower lip that's trembling? He'll be here any minute, Uncle Rupert, and I don't know what else I can do. I just can't find her zipper.
Well, nephew, don't worry. If worst comes to worst, I'll go out and get a job.
Gosh, I'd hate to see you spoil your record. Oh, my gosh, here comes Dr. Crabb, the veterinarian. He would come at a time like this.
Never mind, my lad. I'll take care of that canine Kildare.
Well, thanks, Uncle. I'll go and take one last desperate look around.
Well, hello, Christopher. How's the dog doctor this morning?
Consulting veterinarian, if you don't mind.
What's the matter with you?
Nothing's the matter with me. Got a catch in my throat. Could I have a pan of water, please?
Christopher, do you realize you're even getting to sound like a dog?
Why, thank you, Rupert. Dog is man's best friend. In fact, I understand them.
You understand what dogs say?
Why, certainly. I have a little Pekingese. When he looks up at me with his big watery eyes and says, you know what that means?
He's hungry.
Oh, somebody must have told you. But dogs are wonderful. When my little Cocker Spaniel goes over to meet my Great Dane, he says, "Row, row, row." And then the Great Dane says, "Row, row, row, row." And then that little Cocker. Great Dane and says,
And what does that mean?
I don't know, but they sure understand each other.
Oh, please go away.
Yeah, I must be going now. But remember, elephants need your sympathy. especially adults. They blow their nose and wait so long until they get results. Well, bye. I know, Miss Devine.
I should be over at the theater right now, but I can't go on. What am I going to dance in, my girdle?
That ought to be snappy.
Hey, that's what I'll do. I got it.
Now, what are you doing? Don't push all those things off the counter.
Have you gone crazy, man? Now, you stay out of this, Mr. Goodhue. Uncle Rupert, throw those nuts and bolts where they belong. Yeah, that's right. Right there in the sink. And all this goes back where it was, too. Does it?
Mel, what have you done?
Goodness, the fix-it shop's a shambles. Everything just the way it was yesterday morning. The same mess. The same mess? Are you sure, Mr. Goodhue? Exactly the same? I should know. Oh, that's great. That's wonderful.
Darling, where are you going?
To get Miss Fifi's zipper. Now that everything's in order again, I know just where it is. Here, you see? It was inside Mrs. Zabrowski's zither. You know, Z for zither and Z for zipper.
Oh, let me have that zipper. I've got to run to the theater. And to show you there's no hard feelings, I'll bring my car around for you to fix.
Well, what's wrong with your car?
You know me, sugar boy. I strip the gears. So long.
Something else I can do for you, Mr. Blank. Mr. Goodhue, the answer is no. No? N-O. That spells no. Goodbye, Mr. Goodhue. You know, hearty to party. Goodbye!
For a Zookieism. What? You never heard of a Zookieism? Well, hang around.
Use Colgate tooth powder. Keep smiling just right. Use it each morning and use it each night.
Don't take a chance with your romance.
Use Colgate tooth powder.
Look, let's face the facts. A little breath of trouble, unpleasing breath, is no respecter of persons. Girl or woman, man or boy, teamster or tycoon, debutante or duchess, all are possible victims of unpleasing breath. Why, even you, though you don't suspect it, may risk your happiness, ruin your romance, even jeopardize your job because of unpleasing breath. So isn't it best to be on your guard, to watch out for that little breath of trouble? My advice is do this. Brush your teeth night and morning and before every date with Colgate tooth powder. For Colgate tooth powder cleans your breath as it cleans your teeth. Yes, scientific tests have definitely proved that in 7 cases out of 10, Colgate tooth powder instantly stops unpleasing breath that originates in the mouth. What's more, no dentifrice at any price cleans your teeth more quickly and thoroughly than Colgate tooth powder. Remember to buy it first thing. Remember the name Colgate tooth powder with the accent on powder.
Don't take a chance with your romance.
Use Colgate tooth powder.
Well, Zuki, we've had a lot of excitement, but I hope you learned something about efficiency.
Yes, Zuki. To be efficient, you should score yourself on things like ingenuity, perseverance, industry. How would you score yourself?
Well, on ingenuity, I score for 5. On perseverance, I score on industry, I score I don't know what the score is.
Colgate tooth powder for breath that's sweet and teeth that sparkle brings you the Mel Blanc Show every Tuesday. Mel Blanc Show is written by David Victor and Herbert Little Jr. and was produced by Joe Rides.
Say hello to Halo Shampoo if you want naturally bright and beautiful hair. For Halo Shampoo contains no soap, therefore leaves no dulling soap film. Halo lets hair sparkle with natural brilliance. Even in hardest water, Halo makes oceans of rich, fragrant lather to quickly carry away loose dandruff and dirt. Halo needs no lemon or vinegar rinse. Say hello to Halo and goodbye to dulling soap film. Get Halo Shampoo at any cosmetic counter.
The Fred Allen Show, scheduled especially at this time and rebroadcast exclusively for you men in the armed forces of the United States and your brothers in arms by the Special Service Division of the War Department, starring Fred Allen with Portland Hoffa and Al Goodman's orchestra. Ladies and gentlemen, last week a lady, after missing a question on a quiz program, received over 300,000 pennies in the mail. Tonight we bring you a man with 2 bags under his eyes big enough to hold the lady's pennies. And here he is, Fred Allen.
Thank you. Thank you, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Say, what was that excitement they had on Truth or Consequences last week, Jimmy? You said a lady missed a question, and the listener sent her in 300,000 pennies?
Yes, that's right, Fred.
Well, if Truth or Consequences can raise money that easily, Jimmy, all of the country's troubles are over.
Well, how do you mean, Fred?
Well, all we have to do to settle the national debt is to put Mr. Morgenthau on Truth or Consequences, let him miss a question. When the mail starts pouring in, Henry will have more dough than he'll know what to do with.
Mr. Allen!
Well, Portland, did you hear about the lady on Truth or Consequences?
Yes. Mama was on that program the week before.
Oh, the week before, really? What happened?
Well, Mama missed her question, so for 10 minutes she had to moo like a cow.
She had to moo like a cow? Did she get any mail?
Mama got letters from 20,000 butchers.
20,000? I know a fellow on a roundtable program. Right in the middle of a discussion, he sneezed.
He sneezed?
Uh-huh. The next day, he got 400,000 postcards with Gesundheit written on them.
That shows the power of radio, doesn't it?
Oh, boy. I'll say radio is a power. Did you know that on account of radio, the Russians had to slow down their advance this week?
Why?
Well, through some mix-up, the Russian army got 4 days ahead of H.V. Kaltenborn. Oh, there was an awful mess. The sponsor had Timoshenko on the carpet. Kaltenborn put his foot down, and the Russian army had to slow up until he read the commercial. Well, enough about radio, Portland. I've got to get down to Allen's Alley.
Oh, what is your question for tonight?
Well, this week the OPA ruled that people eating in hotels and restaurants will not have to surrender their ration stamps to get food, you see. Now, the OPA says that dining out will be recognized as an uplift for morale. And so our question is, how do you feel about dining out? Does it affect your morale?
Shall we away to Allen's Alley?
Why not? Well, here we are, back in Allen's Alley, Portland.
No.
Mrs. Nussbaum.
You are expecting Becky Davis, maybe?
Well, tell me, Mrs. Nussbaum, how do you feel about eating out?
Who is eating out? I'm a dog, maybe.
Well, if you're eating at home, what are you doing about your morale?
This I'm keeping up by making patriotic dishes.
Patriotic? Well, how do you mean?
Spaghetti I'm calling Liberty Noodles.
Liberty noodles. Good.
Sauerkraut I'm calling Victory Cabbage.
Victory cabbage. Very good.
Hamburger I'm calling Meatballs Kosher Blanca. Saturdays I'm cooking bundles for blinchers. Also Also, free French fried potatoes.
Free French fried potatoes.
Herring, I'm calling Uncle Salmon.
Uncle. Well, in summing up, Mrs. Nussbaum, would you say that dining out raises your morale?
Only if the other party is taking the check, thank you.
Now, let's see who's here next door.
Welcome to you, hale and hearty. Falstaff is here, the life of the party.
Now, you haven't been up to more poems.
Have you heard, said the Pekingese as it started to wheeze, I hope you'll excuse my asthma, please?
No, I haven't heard that.
Or, she called me darling Maxie till I made her pay for the taxi?
No.
You may be a lieutenant to those wax-souled girl, but you'll always be mother to me.
You have decidedly done it again. Tonight we have been talking about dining out, raising morale.
Precisely why I am here. I have coined a dactyl.
Well, what is your dining out poem called?
Dining out.
That's some switch, isn't it? Well, how does your poem go?
The OPA only yesterday put all food ration talk to rout, ruling an uplift for morale to be the act of dining out. Roosevelt and Churchill went out to dine. They dined at Casablanca. They both had several dinners there, complete from soup to Sanka. They proved to all that dining out can raise the world's morale from the windswept hills of Kharkov to the shores of Guadalcanal. They served notice on Herr Hitler and his barbaric Nazi band that they too will soon be eating out of the United Nations' hand.
Thank you. As Falstaff folds his adverbs and prepares to steal away silently, we turn to welcome our singing guest, Tamara. Tamara's song is You'd Be So Nice to Come Home To. Mr. Goodman, meet Tamara.
You'd be so nice to come home to. You'd be so nice by the fire while the breeze on high sings a lullaby. You'd be all that I could desire. On the stars chilled by the winter, under an August moon burning above. You'd be so nice, you'd be paradise to come home to. You'd be so nice to come home to. You'd be so nice by the fire while the breeze on high sings a lullaby. You'd be all that I could desire. On the stars chilled by the winter, under an August moon burning above. You'd be so nice, you'd be paradise to come home to.
That was just a touch of Texas, played a little too long by Al Goodman, and 25... 25 men Toscanini wouldn't be found dead in front of.
Isn't there any guest tonight?
Well, I had Thorndike Levitt booked tonight.
Thorndike Levitt?
Yes, he's a big picture star. In Random Harvest, Thorndike Levitt played the Scarecrow, if you've seen the picture. Kept too much corn from getting into the picture.
And he isn't coming tonight?
No, he quit pictures. All of a sudden, Thorndike got a big job. He's running the Elizabeth Arden concession for the CIO. You know, Elizabeth Arden is putting out Riveter's goggles with built-in mascara. It's a big thing now.
Well, didn't you try to get a guest?
Well, I sent a wire to a little radio agent. His office is behind the weighing machine in that drugstore. You know, at 50... Say, see who's at the door, Portland. This may be Sydney now.
All right.
I got your telegram, Mr. Allen.
Yes, Sydney?
I can't find no actors no place.
You couldn't find a single actor?
Well, I got one guy outside. He's okay for a stooge, but he ain't big enough for a guest star.
Well, I have to have a big name, Sid.
I know. This poor guy was a radio star once. He got a bad break. His career was ruined.
Really? Who is he?
Well, he's going under a consumed name.
Consumed name?
Bradley Ballantyne.
Bradley Ballantyne, huh?
His real name is Oscar Levant.
Oscar Levant? Why, Oscar Levant is a great musician.
He was a great musician. Today, he's a soldier of misfortune. A bum.
Oh. What? You didn't have to stress it, Sidney. Well, what happened, Sidney?
2 weeks ago tonight at Carnegie Hall, Oscar Levant played a concert with Jack Benny.
Uh-huh.
That's all, brother.
Now, look, Sid, I have to have a guest here tonight. Where is Oscar?
He's outside talking to himself. Nobody else will listen to him.
Well, look, Sid, I'm stuck. Can you bring him in? I'll see.
Sure. Here he is, folks. Oscar Levant.
Well, gosh, Oscar, I wouldn't even know you. You look terrible.
You look beautiful.
Gosh, you're in worse shape than I thought, Oscar, old man. Tell me, what's the matter?
I can't eat. I can't sleep. Ever since that night at Carnegie, I keep hearing a voice.
A voice? What voice?
There it goes again. Listen.
The best tunes of all move to Carnegie Hall. Yes, the best tunes of all move to Carnegie Hall.
It goes on all day, all night. I'll go mad. Do you hear? Mad.
Now, Oscar, snap out of it. Look at me. I'm Fred Allen. Look at me.
Please. I just got over one shock.
Now, Oscar, we mustn't be upset. We mustn't go to itsy bitsy pieces.
You sound like an old kindergarten teacher I once killed in Syracuse.
But, Oscar, you can't let one...
Fred, for 20 years I lived on the wings of music. And in one night, I was a dead duck.
I know.
20 years of practice. I was starting to play with both hands.
Play with both... You were right at the peak, and then...
Then he gave me the kiss of death.
Yes, he'll do it every time.
Musically, I'm through.
That's silly, Oscar. What makes you think you're finished in music?
Today I passed Sammy Kaye on the street. He turned his head the other way.
Oh, look, Oscar.
I wish I was dead.
No, Oscar. You have got to master this phobia. When you go to a psychiatrist, he makes you speak freely. Now, let's pretend that I am your psychiatrist. Tell me exactly what happened that night at Carnegie Hall.
First, the curtain went up. Uh-huh. Then, without warning, Benny stepped out on the stage with his violin.
Uh-huh. Was there any excitement?
There was a loud shriek in the back of the hall.
A music lover?
No, it was Deems Taylor. He fainted.
I see. And then you, as Benny's accompanist, stepped out?
Stepped out. I was pushed out by one of Benny's relatives.
Well, now, you and Benny were there on the stage. Then what happened?
A fireman stepped out on the stage.
A fireman stepped out, yes?
The fireman announced Benny's number and pointed out all of the exits at the same time.
What was Benny's first selection?
He played the B.
Yes?
Right after Benny finished the B, the government took honey off the ration list.
It was bad, eh?
It was so bad, Rimsky and Korsakov split up.
Well, it must have been terrible.
Fred, you've heard a gypsy when he makes his violin cry.
Yes, Oscar.
Benny makes his violin sweat.
Well, tell me, how did the audience react?
A man going through the audience selling tar and feathers would have cleaned up.
Gad, you must have been humiliated, sitting there at the piano in front of all those irate people.
By this time, I wasn't sitting at the piano.
No?
I was inside, playing it like a harp.
But, well, no wonder you're musically unnerved, Oscar. What came next?
The manager of Carnegie Hall began beating his head against the wall. Benny mistook this for applause and started to play an encore. Love in Bloom.
Well, how did he make out?
Fred, if the Empire State Building converted to coal, the janitor couldn't hit that many clinkers.
Well, when Benny finished Love in Bloom...
He never finished. The last thing I heard was someone yelling, "Women and children first!" Then everything went black.
Well, tell me, what happened to you?
The next morning, they found me on 57th Street, throwing stones through Steinway's window.
No kidding.
I'm through, Fred.
No, you can come back, Oscar. Why don't you be like Benny? Happy-go-lucky. He comes, he smells, he leaves.
No, Fred. I'm through with music. I'm looking for some other kind of work.
Why, you still have your job on information, please.
How long can I last? Today, everything they play for me to identify sounds like Love in Bloom.
Gad, it must be terrible.
We lose more encyclopedias that way.
Well, you've got to do something, Oscar.
Yes, I've got to get a job. I have 2 little children. It may be years before they can support me.
Well, have you looked for anything yet?
Yes, I clipped out some help wanted ads. I've got them right here.
Oh, good. Let me see. Oh, here's a job. Man wanted to play shortstop for Brooklyn Dodgers. Must be in 4F.
That's okay, but it doesn't start till spring. I could starve by then.
Well, look at this next column. There are plenty of jobs here. Look, steam fitters, plumbers, sand hogs, stevedores.
You've got the wrong column. That's for women.
Oh, women.
Maybe I can get a defense job.
Now, Oscar, let's face it. All you know is one profession. You have got to come back.
No, Fred. Musically, I'm done. Since that night, I can't tell Shostakovich's 7th from their Fuhrer's face.
Oscar, Benny's off-key rendition of Love in Bloom brought on this mental condition you have. Now, if you were to hear Love in Bloom played beautifully, your subconscious music neurosis would be adjusted.
But who can play Love in Bloom beautifully, Fred?
Well, I'll play it for you on my clarinet, Oscar.
Go ahead, Fred. So I'll go to Bellevue a week sooner.
Well, we'll surprise you. We'll surprise you, Oscar. 5 of the boys in the band and I have a clarinet ensemble. Say, will you fellas come down? We're auditioning for a job at Hamburger Heaven tomorrow. They want all wind instruments at Hamburger Heaven on account of the onions, you see. With the 5 clarinets, we can play and air condition the place at the same time. Now, all right, boys, if you just wait till we'll hold my gum, too. I have to get my gum out. You can't play with the gum. Just to make sure this thing is warmed up here. I'll get some ready. All right, Mr. Goodman. Oscar. You see, I put a couple of squeals in there so people would know I was playing. I just played that in. Did our rendition of Love and Bloom have any effect on you?
Yes, Fred. I'm getting that old E-flat feeling again.
I knew it. You're back to normal, Oscar. Now you can return to the scene of your crime and prove your greatness.
Me? Alone? In Carnegie Hall?
Ah, not alone, Oscar, this time. I'll go with you.
You mean I'm to accompany you as I did Benny?
Why, yes.
Which way is Kaiser Shipyard?
Now, wait a minute. Wait a minute, Oscar. You just heard me play the clarinet. Why, I'm better than Benny on that squash racket he plays.
I know, but what can we play in Carnegie Hall?
We'll play the best tunes of all at Carnegie Hall, Oscar. Well, you know those little commercial jingles you hear on the air?
Pepsi-Cola hits a spot, one of those?
Right. Now, for Carnegie Hall, all we have to do is make a symphony out of one of those little jingles. We'll get a sponsor and clean up.
Say, I've got a jingle that might make a symphony. You know, Rinso White, Rinso White.
Well, will my clarinet fit in?
The clarinet is the only instrument that can do that Rinso White effect.
Well, I don't want to hog the whole thing, Oscar.
Fred, you're the clarinetist. It's a clarinet part.
Ah, no, I want you at the piano, too, Oscar.
All right, I'll play a little background music.
Fine. Now, we're all set, Mr. Goodman, if you're ready. Ladies and gentlemen, Oscar Levant, assisted by Al Goodman's orchestra, presents the world's premier rendition of the symphonic jingle, El Rinso White.
The Special Service Division of the War Department of the United States has presented the Fred Allen Show, scheduled at this time and rebroadcast exclusively for you men in the armed forces of the United Nations. Now, a special musical afterpiece arranged and prepared expressly for you servicemen. Here's the orchestra with the sort of music your letters express a preference for. Take it away. have just heard a delayed broadcast scheduled expressly at this time for the Armed Forces of the United Nations by the Special Service Division of the War Department of the United States of America. This program has been a part of our English language shortwave service.